Okay, here it is, Colleen. Hi, everybody. Just getting everything set up here. Tasmania here. Hello, hello, Tasmania. Okay. Bear with us just for a moment longer as I get everything set to go. Okay, and hey, everybody. Hey, crazy hair. How about, hi, hello. How about just a few, you can see us, hear us okay, kind of dealios in the chat room.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Lovely to see you. Lucy? Lucy 13171? Lucy. Melissa, sweet Melissa, Linda. We love you so much, guys. Virtuous unicorns.
Oh,
They are. They are. Sounds good too. Looks good. Sounds good. Okay, got lots of confirmations. All right. So here we are. Here we are live. And the show for today is teach your children well. Your parents. Okay. And then it says, what did I write? I wrote, schools brainwash the mind, Mother Earth sets it free. And this is a very important, very important show. And I think some of the things that we're going to share with you today maybe go past just how evil, demonic the school system has been. And there are some of you that probably still maybe still have your kids in school as well. So what this will do today is essentially in three parts. We're going to talk about one, in the beginning, what educating our children really means. What does that mean? Everyone knows that this is what we should be doing. We've been told that this is what we should do. So we assume that that's what we should, but what does it actually mean? So we need to determine that. So what does that mean? Should we be doing it? How should we be doing it? Secondly, school systems, what they were really for. And from about 1910, to 2010, so we're about 111 years, 111. Now God's acting and nothing can stop God taking this out. 111, the God frequency, healing frequency of creation, 111 hertz. And now we're taking this out. So we're going to talk about just how evil it was and how it was the backbone to everything and how it was tied into virtually everything and why. And you're going to find out that schooling system was created very specifically for hand in hand with this economy and the necessity for money and necessity for jobs. So jobs and then schooling go hand in hand. You'll see how they work together and just how horrible this is. And then the third aspect of this today, we'll be talking about what the solution is. Very simple, practical solution to all of this. And then it's just putting your hands in the hand from the man from the Sea of Galilee, and trusting in Jesus, trusting in Mama, trusting in Mama Earth, and trusting in God. And then they will, all of the brainwashing and torture that in many cases that we've literally put our kids through by going to school. And same for me. And at least with us, we gave our kids options not to. They chose to. And what can you do? God gave all of us free will, and you have to allow for that free will expression to play itself out. But at least we gave them the option of not doing that. And so yeah, so there is a very happy ending to all of this, just like what's going on right now is you're starting to see everything come together. So maybe, Cole, did you want to address a few things? Obviously, we've had a little bit of connection with negative 48, whomever that is, and I guess we have a show with negative 48 in the works. Watermelon.
What am I supposed to, I don't understand. The one thing I was wanting to interject earlier was that the school systems were designed to just completely brainwash our children. And that was their form of taking away God and taking away control from the parents as well, because of the influence that we have over our children.
Right.
And they'd say, give a child to me before the age of 5, and
Got 'em for
which
life.
we do, right? Suddenly kindergarten is from 2 years old and on. They call it play school or whatever they want to call it, daycare. They're in an institution after that, and then it's just in front of a screen of some sort when they're at home, and then in front of people who don't really know the truth, who are teaching them. So it's very, very sad. And I know there's some very good teachers out there, and they go into this, special career because they have hearts of gold and they want
Mhm,
to teach
mhm.
your children, and they want to be a part of that whole beautiful, but it ends up they're stuck inside of this horrible mechanism that they can't get out of, and their whole life is just, their essence is just ripped out of them. And I'm sure anybody here who has had anything to do with being a teacher in that system can attest to that. So bless your heart. I'm sure your heart was in the right place, but the whole system is broken, but actually it's working exactly the way it was designed to.
Absolutely. So well said, Angel. And again, to echo that too, and I know that there are some here that have been educators, and your hearts are gold, and they were in the right place. Just know moving forward that as if we can help, this is what education is going to look like moving forward, which is empowering the individual, empowering the family, empowering the mother and the father at home to be able to just completely realign their existence. And then families have to become their own care providers for everything in every aspect of
Because
our
we're
needs.
able men and women.
That's right.
And we are going to create a system that works for us, for kind men.
That's right. We're not Canaanites. We're the children of Abel. So we can do anything we put our minds to. And practice makes perfect.
With the
And
number
God
9,
loves,
I.
and God loves a trier. So it's just divine, and we're gonna be fine with this. So to those of you right now that are educators and really want to continue to help more than just your own family, you can do so, and you can do so virally through something like whatever new platform comes out of the demonic YouTube and
we don't
everything
mean
else.
the COVID fake 9 virally.
But you are going to have this opportunity, and that is that you can create chat rooms, you can create live chats, you can create your own channel demonstrating how you're doing this, because a lot of people are going to be able to hear this and can generally sort of visualize a bit what this means, sort of what it looks like. But then if you can put it into practice, videotape, do it, maybe even some examples of doing it live and whatnot, interacting with your kids, showing how brilliant your children are because they're empowered, because they know how to do shit, because you're getting them to do stuff. So every time we accomplish something, every time we master something, what happens? We get higher and higher and higher. And higher means perspective.
And the influence and the energy that's around each of us as we do that, it absorbs into somebody else. It's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to be able to do those things as an educator moving forward, focusing at home, focusing with your children, focusing with your family. And then you're going to be able to share that online. And of course, with the website that Tony is almost finished creating for us here with Freak Sense TV, you'll be able to share that. We can allow you to have a page for that as well, and create a family and interest, and then you can as we get a provider for this platform. So what are we calling it? Social media platform that does video. So something to replace YouTube, because let's face it, Rumble and the other sites. We have a Rumble channel that Tony worked so hard to put together. It's a crappy platform. It really is. And yeah, so and YouTube runs quite well, except for the fact, of course, that it is restricted to high hell, because they're hell, because they're demons, they're monsters, and that's what they do. So when all of those things collapse, and they will, and they'll be replaced by something that is very heavenly. And then when those platforms exist, what we're going to create is, we've talked about this before, we're going to create is Freak Sense TV. And Freak Sense TV ultimately will be something that will be on 24/7, always for free. And we'll be creating, and we'll have others that will create as well. And we'll have a family. And that's for some of you as well, that feel the calling, feel the desire, feel the passion to be able to share your gnosis with others, and you'll be able to do your own show, your own little show, your own little way, as frequently or as infrequently as possible. And it'll all just be about kind man, kind woman, and then sharing the gnosis that you have. And then we'll have it on 24/7. And let's face it, if Colleen and I are not massively suppressed and blocked at every single turn, then Freak Sense TV will grow massively. And I'm sure within months, it'll probably have like literally millions of followers. And for the time being, as people still feel that they require television, then we'll give what is necessary, which is truth of vision. And that's what Freak Sense TV will be, 24/7 truth vision. And it'll always be free. And so that's what we're planning. And so for some of you who are educators, teachers, and feel the calling, you'll be able to have your own show. You'll be able to have your own show on Freak Sense TV as well. And we'll show the whole world what this looks like in real time. Okay? And so we're going to go into all of this today. And just really quickly, I apologize. I haven't really had much of anything today, so I had a piece of watermelon. But we really don't know a lot about negative 48. But what we've heard, of course, is absolutely fantastic. And anyone and any group that is authentically teaching the truth about God, about the Mother, about Jesus Christ, about the Bible, is friends of ours, because this is what Colleen and I value as much or more than anything else. It's just because it's the way, it's the answer, and if it's shared, you will find your way, you'll find your path, you'll find level ground, and you're going to be okay. You're going to be great, because again, the actual teachings of Jesus Christ are so perfect, are so beautiful. And again, I hearken back to Bill Donahue. I talked about this with our live shows over the last couple of weeks, and just watching a show with Bill just last week, and Bill saying once again, what the world needs now is for everyone to wake up and listen yourself to Jesus Christ. Go back and read, listen to Jesus Christ. And like Bill Donahue said, there will be no problems left in the world. All you have to do is listen, put your hands in the hands of the man from the Sea of Galilee.
And moving forward, this is all going to be coming so much more clearer as the teachings, the Bible, all of
is opened up. It's been massively suppressed.
And not to mention, a lot of the books were taken and omitted from the actual work.
Yeah.
So there's so much more that we will be discovering very, very soon. It's such an exciting time. It really is. And so now it's just an opening of the mind, and we have to re-educate ourselves.
Exactly right. And again, the key being is that what's been suppressed mostly out of the Bible has been the woman. So what a big surprise. We live in a penis world. So of course, the vagina and the woman has been suppressed. So
we have a lot of healing to do.
We do. And it's just the same thing with regard to racism. Racism is something that was simply taught to us. So white people should never blame any other colored people, and any other colored people should never blame white people. We're all the same. The only reason why we have different colored skin or different colored hair, or different colored eyes, or different textures or styles of hair and skin and eyes and things is simply proximity to the sun. And then because we've been here a long time. So then over millions of years, genetically, that's the only thing that DNA does. It's just sort of constant, because God is perfect, is just constantly making us better adapted to where we're choosing to be. So if we choose to be equatorially, then we all, obviously there are a few white people in the equator. And when you see us, typically we just have so much going on this year, but typically we're both so incredibly dark all of the time. We don't even really necessarily look like white people because we're dark all the time. And that's because of the proximity to the sun. So this whole racism thing, we have to stop blaming one another and hating one another for it. They did it. They're the ones that did it. And they are this tiny little group we're going to be talking about today, because they're the ones that created this public schooling. Oh yeah, it's so necessary and it's so good. No, it's evil. It's purely evil. They're purely evil. It's a small group. Blame them. Get angry with them. Stop giving them a get out of jail free card. Why is that? That the ones that are the most inured in the system and the most zombified in the entire system, why are they the ones that defend the very system that has
That's called the
neutered
Stockholm
them?
syndrome.
Yes.
Look it up. Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. And it truly is. I mean, you just, after time, you grow to show affection towards your jailer, towards your abuser. And that's just really, really sick and sad. So, but it is the case. So it's a tiny group. So this whole thing about men hating women, women hating men, or women blaming men for all the things, just remember, so much of spousal abuse in marriages because of organized religion, teaching the literal, just literally teaching these allegories, which are showing you a much higher message, and then refining them down into no. This just means that the woman must obey the husband. The husband is in. No. The husband is the sheep herder. So on earth as Jesus Christ, and in the sky, that is God. They are the husband, and we obey the husband, or husbandry, which is tending to the flock. Okay. So those who tend to the flock, we tend to follow and obey, because they have the best interests of care and compassion, love, the mother and the father in mind.
And
it
it's
doesn't
hard
mean
not to have been programmed by this system.
That's right.
When we were raised in it completely, even if we rebelled against it, there's still programming that's taken place, and we sometimes don't realize it. And then of course there's our ego, who works in the same form because it's left-brained, and it also wants to be part of that program.
Yeah, absolutely. So once again, stop. They're good at what they do. We have to grant them that. They're good at what they do. We have to stop falling for all of these tricks and then attacking each other instead of focusing on the enemy. And they are the enemy. Now, remember, they have coerced through, waving dollar bills and fame and fortune at certain people. And they do have an army of minions. And those minions need to be taken to task. And in many cases, as Colleen and I have shared many times, often the ire that rises within us with regard to all of this often falls hardest on the minions, people like, in news in particular, because we've been trained to think that news is actually real, or that it's actually objective. There's no angle.
Something about the news.
Fake, and just single-handedly.
And it's true.
DJT 34. DJT 34. That he was absolutely, and that's why JFK 27. That's why JFK, when he became president, that's why he opened up the media. You need to recognize, and many of you don't know this, but there weren't press conferences, weekly, daily press conferences until JFK became president. And although they put him under the microscope because of who he was personally, as well as being president, John Kennedy knew this was the thing to do, and that's why he gave many speeches, including the very, very famous secret society speech, which was not about solely about the Soviet Union or something. It's about the cabal. He's absolutely talking about the cabal and saying to the members of the press that you have an obligation, regardless of who's paying your paycheck, to tell the truth. That's what you're invested in, is as a newspaper reporter, you're searching for the truth. It doesn't matter who cuts your check, and this is what you need to be doing. And that's what John Kennedy, 27, was doing. And then Donald J. Trump, 34, followed him up and just the orange hair master genius, was just calling him out left, right, and center. Fake news, fake news, fake news. And it totally is. In school, you can add, he hasn't done that, and he hasn't done it with churches and stuff, but I know that they know. I know that they know. Schools are fake. Organized religion is fake. It's all part of the same system. Not any one of these major institutions get a free pass moving forward. They are all inoculated with the same disease, the same bacteria that they've been infesting in us and our children ever since. So no one gets a free pass here. And just as evil as the fake news, fake media has been, schools, hospitals, just keep going down the list, every single aspect. What do you see?
Aaron Gordon says Sauerman installs and amplifies worm tongue in each of us through the educational system. Exactly.
Yeah. Aaron Gordon, love you, buddy. And great comment. And Aaron Gordon, by the way, is currently writing a book, which is, I guess, kind of building on some of the things that we've talked about Professor Tolkien. And Tolkien famously said in the beginning of the Lord of the Rings that Lord of the Rings was an allegory. But Professor Tolkien's not a liar, but you say these things to keep yourself and your family, most importantly, your family, your wife and your children who you love so much, alive, and then to allow your work to be able to publish. And
which in the Great Awakening, we're going to discover how many good white hats, many good, kind men have been doing that for a very long time. They have to couch all of the truth.
Yeah, you do. And just like, take a look, for example, in terms of, just really quickly here about this, necessary for encoding in all of these songs or in the movies and everything, and encoding it. Just take a look at Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley was used as a sex symbol to distract and change the focus away from what was coming, which was the necessity to control political life and potentially take out leaders like a John F. Kennedy. And then notice how the Beatles came out 100-fold, 1,000-fold right after John F. Kennedy was assassinated. And then that's the distraction for the world, right?
They were used as a weapon. As lovely as they were used as a weapon.
And Elvis Presley, very, very down-to-earth, grounded individual. So therefore very intelligent, knew that he was being used and didn't want to just do these sort of anti-pantsy songs that were sort of, just distracting women in particular. And so eventually Elvis wrested control for Colonel Tom, and he began to do what he wanted to do, and that is singing songs about this creation, about God, about Jesus, about the mother.
Full force after he was John Galted.
And then they did everything to just tell you that Elvis was a hack, and Elvis had lost it, and Elvis was no longer. They just took the spotlight right off him completely. And then because Elvis is such an incredible singer, has such an incredible personality, and such devoted following, again, just because the essence of the man is so strong and pure, that it wasn't working. And then they were going to kill him. And if he wasn't John Galted, make no mistake about it, sacrificial lamb is what Elvis would have become. And thank goodness that you had, and by the sounds of it, through negative 48, that I'm feeling stronger and stronger every day that John F. Kennedy was not assassinated in Dallas. I mean, you just look at that assassination, which I know as much or more about it than anyone else in the world. I've never outside of those that really know.
And why does something
I've never
like-
done a show
why-
about it.
Why does something like that sit with you for so long? And it just kind of sits on the back of your, like a monkey on your back, although monkeys are cool. And you just feel like there's something so wrong with this entire story. And then you discover why, because there was so much fakery going on both sides, and we didn't know. But we knew something was wrong.
Yeah, everybody reported something different. The only people that no one seemingly wanted to listen to were the people on the grassy knoll who were the closest to the car. And they were saying the weirdest things of all.
Right.
The weirdest things of all, the most bizarre things they were saying, and they were the ones who were closest.
So it's looking like he maybe didn't.
And negative 48, which we both know, we're all in with negative 48 because. And what is negative 48's name? If
Michael.
Michael Brian Pontzman? Michael Brian Pontzman? Protzman? Michael Brian Protzman. Just wow. And just showing you what Colleen and I have been trying to teach you for 3 years. And it's incredible because along comes Michael. Oh, Michael. Oh, Jesus. Along comes Michael, and he's just kind of corroborating what Colleen and I have tried so hard. And remember, when Colleen and I started 3 years ago trying to teach that, that the only thing that matters is God, God is real, it's all good, and God's creation is purely good. They just tilt it, pervert it to evil. And so we started with numerology and symbology. We did those shows. Everybody thought that we were nuts. Everyone. And wow. Even some of the conversations we had with Mark Devlin in the beginning.
Had me until they
Yeah.
say.
And because we have been so brainwashed to just think that these certain numbers are evil and certain symbols are evil. No, it's all God. It's all God and God's creation.
Take them back.
That's right. And so now what you just see with Michael, negative 48, is that he's just showing you constantly these names or terms or phrases, expressions, and then you just do the simple gematria, godly gematria. A is 1, Z is 26.
They all line up
That's
to
right.
God's language.
That's right.
Which is the symbolism of the English alphabet and the numerology.
And then, like Colleen and I attempted to share with you with regard to the Q post. Remember, we've always said this with you with regard to the Q post, that anyone who wants to know for sure whether that Trump is a good guy, that the Q team is real, is any of this real? Has any of this happened? Is any of this real? All you have to do is read the Q post, because they are goodly, godly, they are brilliant, and they don't make a single mistake. Not ever once. There's not a misrepresentation to a number. There's never a misrepresentation to a symbol. And all of those Q posts are tying in our true, real history. So through those Q posts, you're actually learning for the first time in your life about the truth of who we are and what we've been through, and some of what actually is happening in history.
I love the fact here, I'm reading what you guys are saying in the chat over here, and I love what I'm seeing. Tiger Lily, Jubes, it's like whenever Charlie to go and
A, B, C.
Exactly.
Easy as 1, 2, 3. I'm talking about do, re,
and then we
mi,
heard
A,
Michael
B,
say
C.
that the other day, and I was
1,
just
2,
like,
3, baby, you and me.
Yay, Michael. It's really brilliant because it's true.
Baby, you and me. Baba, God, you, female sheep, the sacred feminine mother, and me. I am me. Krishna taught us this 108 times in the Bhagavad Gita.
Gnostic truth.
A, B, C, do, re, mi, do, a deer, a female deer, re, a drop of golden sun. Me, a name, I call myself father. In that case, mother, father, child. It's just, it's Ra as El or Israel, and it's all beautiful. It's all good. And they were all encoding in their songs.
And we totally want to do a video on who's been John Galton, our opinion on who may have been and who
We'll do that this week.
That would be fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And we're going to also just start a series of shows together on all of the books that are safe to read, that you know, we've
Like a
gone through,
resource list.
that are just brilliant for you and your children to be reading, that are teaching this one story, that are goodly and godly, and are we feel very strongly tied into the Q.
And so much room for people to be writing stories for children
That's
and for educating
exactly.
about the one true story.
Exactly.
And now that you know, you can decode it all and put it into a beautiful story. There's
Yeah.
so much we can do to teach our beautiful children this story.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Because virtually every example is playing out as the one story, and you
If it's
just tell
not
it.
inverse and flipped.
Yeah. So very exciting. And so books and
Movies and
movies
videos
and
and
records and all that kind of wonderful stuff. Just this
Mhm.
the huge list of people who can. And it was really great. And I've got a great song from Journey coming up really soon to add as well. And I just did Foreigner, and I'm going to be doing Waiting for a Girl Like You from Foreigner relatively soon as well. And it's just so exciting when you get to do these big bands like that, super popular bands, or like with the Who, or Peter Frampton or something, great guitar players or rock bands and stuff like that. And I'm gonna do a few heavier metal songs as well. And you're gonna see that even these heavy metal bands are all just writing. We're all just writing
many
about
of them.
most of them is my experience. We're writing about Professor Tolkien. They're writing about hobbits and Middle Earth and elves, and they were writing about God and God's creation and Jesus Christ. So it's amazing. So it's really fun. It's really fun that when you can just show, and then the comments that we're getting from everyone are worth all the hard work, because Colleen gets after me from how much time I have to put in to get them done. But it is worth it because the comments are amazing, which is that, geez, for years I was going to burn all of my records because, it's just so evil. And now you're showing me that it's not, that it's all been, and then it's just so plain to see once you just had a hint or a clue, then you can do your own work and decode all of this genius and this. So it's just beautiful. So Waiting for a Girl Like You is we've all been waiting for someone like Colleen. We're all waiting for the virtuous woman. We're all waiting for something other than the whore of Babylon. There's no judgments. There's no judgments because you've been taught that from the moment that you've been born as a woman to just compete with men and sex and shorter does, and that's how you get ahead is sex. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. But it still means that someone like Mick Jones from Foreigner is going, man, but I'm sure waiting for her. I'm waiting for that one, not the one who's waiting at backstage and who wants to, do this or that. It's terrible. It's just terrible. And that's the thing again. It's a small group of people. And that's why we don't cut them a free pass. We don't grant forgiveness. And maybe and I say maybe, but there would have to be so much, penance given in light of this. I just don't know if I'm big enough or strong enough to ever forgive. I certainly will never forget. And I think that's important as well. But it's a small group, and they are whom we need to realize, which is the left brain. And if we let it ever go again, this will happen again. Different names, different faces, different players, but it'll all play out the same way again. And one of the really coolest things, last thing before we jump into the show again here, is that with Negative 48, is the things he's been tying into with regard to some key figures who aren't bad and who have been working on the good side of things, and the things that Trump has been doing, and then a lot of the call phrases or expressions that are being used by President Trump or through the Q team, and that these expressions are so goodly and so godly, and that and that there has been a host of people that we maybe think are dead or have just dismissed or forgotten about. And they've been working and working and working and working and working and working hard. A person like Michael Jackson, growing up in the family that he did and being abused and used and abused by Motown, and his father didn't give a shit at all. And from the very beginning, listen to all those songs by the Jackson Five or in Little Michael. I was just listening a couple of days ago to the first two singles that he ever released as a solo artist. Oh my God, they're just the most beautiful songs to God that I've ever heard.
Incredible.
And then that's what he just continued to do. And don't think for a second that you say, well, why would they be taken? Because they want to get to work, because they want to roll their sleeves up and they want to be part of this. And then obviously for a lot of people like Jim Morrison as well, they're going to be killed. They're going to be killed. Jim was so awake and writing such incredible songs that were just dealing with the most powerful of subjects and encouraging you to be set free. And then there are some people that come along like Jeheshua and Mary Magdalene. Some people that come along like a Jim Morrison, you can't get them out of your head, and they do have an impact, and they have a voice, and
I think you'd say they'd have a magnetism.
They have a charm and a magnetism to them. Don't think this is lost on the cabal. It isn't. Those are the ones they have to kill. Look at all these people, that 27 Club, and the things, the way that Jimi Hendrix played his guitar got him John Galted or killed. John Galted or killed. Why? Because Hendrix played with feel, and the way that Hendrix played his guitar was lyrics. They were opening up chakras within your body.
Anybody who had magic inside of them was thought out.
Yeah. Yeah. And so thank goodness that there was an organization in place that could take these beautiful souls out. And don't kid yourself. They have been working nonstop around the clock. And then we've shared with this with you as well. Moving forward, when they come out and they talk about, when Princess Diana comes out and she tells you all about the royal family and what they're up to, what they care about, what they do, then you're going to have to take this seriously. You're going to have to take this very seriously. When Elvis tells you about the music industry, what they were forcing him to do and what was going on behind the scenes and what it was about, then you're going to have to stop and take a listen. And that's just not us, the awakened ones. Those are the zombies. Those that are mostly asleep now are going to have to take a hard look, because it is us. And it is Princess Diana, and it is Michael Jackson, and it is Prince, and you're going to have to take a hard look at these heart and soul characters.
Of the Great Awakening.
That's right. That's right.
It is great, and it is awake, and it's very biblical based.
Yeah.
It's all about God. It's all about the children.
So we look forward. I don't know if Justin has said anything yet with and if he wants to do it on his channel, not a problem at all, or you can do it here, not a problem at all. But if when they want to do a show, Colleen would be more than happy to jump in. The one thing I would just say, just remember, everyone, that we live in a duality, and a lot we've tried to be brought up to speed big time over the last sort of 72 hours, 3 days and 3 nights of Michael Bryan Protzman. Yeah, Protzman. It's negative 48, just 3 days and 3 nights of trying to get caught up on his genius and all the wonderful things that he's sharing.
And holy cow, does he have a lot to say? Hey, anybody here who's heard anything from him? Wow, he could go on and on and on. Not like anybody else we know, but
no.
But wow, what a brilliant! I can't get enough of just listening to what he has to say.
Absolutely, and of course, what is he saying?
And his group as well. They're brilliant. They have a lot of gnosis.
Yep, and they're just showing you that God is inside of all of creation, and that God is everything. 351, A to Z, 351. So wow.
I think as the days move forward, we're going to have more and more of those types of people coming out,
And that's the one thing I wanted to just share.
You can tell it's getting closer.
Yeah, I just want to share. And I stayed up the whole other night. I stayed up the whole night.
I
Colleen
woke up at
about
3:30. I'm like, what
3:30.
is he? And I
Yeah.
went downstairs because the TV was really loud.
Oh, sorry.
And there he was listening to.
Well, and just doing pages and pages of all of these notes. And then there were just other key things in my head, certain people, certain phrases, certain expressions. And then I was doing all of the gematria on all of those as well. And just, so I was just like a mad scientist. I just had it scribbled all over the place, here, there, and everywhere. It was amazing stuff. And, but that's the one with everyone here. And is that God is the creator of all, and you just need to wrap your minds around that. There is a righteous way of looking at everything, and there is an opportunity to pervert things, but it doesn't mean that you have to accept those perversions. And we know that we have been perverted by sick people, and women have been exploited, and children have been exploited, and sexuality has been exploited, and marriage has been exploited, and everything has been exploited for the lowest common denominator. And we're going to jump into that today. So what I wanted to just share with everyone is that, remember though, that a lot of what's coming from this wonderful group of also presenters that are helping negative 48 share. So there's is it Nikki or Miki?
I think Mickey.
Mickey, and she's really great. She just learned so much about astrology, and so her bringing the astrological aspect into all of this is very huge. So thank you. We love you so much. And then Toronto, and bringing the Armenian aspect to it. Just remember, as soon as she started talking about it, she's absolutely telling you the truth. Why? Because you know anything about Armenia, you know that Armenia has been attacked forever, and you know that the history about Armenia has just been, everything about Armenian culture has been removed. Right? It's like Armenia doesn't exist. So there's a reason. And she's also right that the tributaries for the Tigris, Euphrates, and the Pishon and the Gishon, the four physical rivers of the physical representation on earth of the Garden of Eden, do start in the highlands of Armenia. And and it's AR, which is A for God, R for rising, God rising, and then M for mother. So
Sabrina Gal.
And Sabrina Gal, and Bryce from Atlanta, we've seen as well. And so thank you. We if any of you come across this,
yeah, half a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, all new to us, but wonderful.
Yeah, so it's Miki. Miki. And so wonderful job, Miki, for taking on astrology and becoming so wise in telling the truth, teaching the truth about astrology. All that I would just remind everyone who's listening in, just remember that everything is a duality, and they're giving you, probably because it's important, and this is how it's like, because Charlie Freak is like on acid, right? And it's really heavy because it's holistic. And then it's just maybe just too much for a lot of people. So a lot of what they're doing is trying to keep it simple, stupid, and which is beautiful. And so they're focusing on the literal aspect of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, which we've been teaching for 3 years, is powerfully true. Powerfully true. There is a Lord Christ and there is a Lady Christ. There always has been. They've always seemed to show up in pairs. And then the feminine aspect of this, and that goes back to the Hindu tradition, it goes back to the Buddhist tradition, and you know, within the Nation of Islam, it just gets eliminated. It gets taken out. It gets surgically removed.
And you can't have one without the other.
You can't have one without the other. So so it's beautiful. But just remember, God created us in His image. We don't see Him. I connect with God every single day, powerfully, and I never see God. God is all. God is in all things. He is all things. All creation is the totality, is God. So God is energy. God is frequency. God is vibrations and pulses. God is therefore numbers, because frequencies are numbers. God is symbols, because frequencies can affect solidity, and solidity takes shape and form and shape that reflect God. So it's not just numerology, it's symbology. And this is why maybe Colleen and I are, especially myself, are maybe just too much for a lot of people, because we don't just stop at one thing. We're sharing you the whole thing. And the reason we did is because we felt somebody had to do this. And that's maybe why not everyone is ready for Colleen and Charlie, and that's okay. That's totally okay. But we just can't give you part of the story. So remember, what God is metaphysical, and we are made in his image. So you need to know, as Professor Tolkien said, as C.S. Lewis said, as the best and brilliant minds throughout all of history have told us, that we are metaphysical beings having a physical expression. We're metaphysical beings. So there is an allegorical side to all of this. So I hearken you to go back to that live podcast I did, I think about 2 months ago now, about the ancient truth of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ came first. He is in the night sky. The night sky came first.
And that's the beauty of as above, so below, as within, so without. And there's so many layers to this.
Jeheshua, and it's I'll talk to them about this, because I've got symbology and numerology on my side with this. It's not Yeshua. Stay away from Hebrew. Stay away from this man-made construction, and their desperate pleas to tell you that Hebrew is the oldest language and all the rest of it. It isn't. It's orchestrated to take what is truth and what is God and what is right and turn it to the left and make it wrong. That's why everything in Hebrew is right to left. And that's why their swastika is down and to the left instead of up and to the right. And
The
so,
inversion.
so it's not Yeshua, it's Jeheshua. What's the numerology? Do it yourself. What's the numerology? What's the gematria? What's the gematria? Make it so simple. What's the gematria of Jeheshua? 77. What's the gematria of Christ? 77. What is the gematria of Joshua? Because then if Jeheshua is a Christed figure, then Jeheshua's actual name, which it was, is Joshua. What is the gematria of Joshua? 74. What's the gematria of Jesus? 74. Jesus Christ, 74, 77. Joshua, Jeheshua, 74, 77. Say those words. When Colleen came downstairs, I had just finished doing kind of like a meditation, just a chant session downstairs. All the dogs and the cats were around me, and they were all just snoozing and stuff. And I just began to chant Joshua, Jeheshua, Joshua, Jeheshua, Joshua, Jeheshua, Joshua, Jeheshua. The reason that I did is because in the moment that just came to me again when they were talking about Yeshua, and I knew that it was Jeheshua and Joshua, that I remembered Bill Donahue. And I remember Bill Donahue famously said, just maybe it's important to get these names right. Just maybe. And just maybe that when you say these names sonically, you're creating a frequency, and therefore you're creating a white magic spell that heals yourself and heals all. Maybe, just maybe. That's how he said it. It was so freaking brilliant.
But it's stuck in our mind.
And Bill, we love you. My favorite shows ever in the world are Bill Donahue. I love you, Bill, and thank you so much, brother, for your wisdom and genius in doing that. And so immediately as that just all came upon me, flooding in the moment, I just started Joshua, Jeheshua, and the energy in the room was stunning. It was stunning. Joshua, Jeheshua, Jesus Christ, Joshua, Jeheshua. Remember what crazy old Charlie teaches is that the night sky came first, and Jesus is the sum of the equation. Mother, father are the equation, and the sum of the equation equals MC squared. The sum of the equation is Jesus Christ, and he's been in the night sky from day one. Jesus Christ is a metaphysical creation that is within us and above us, is above us and within us. And this expression of Christ within us is the chrism oil. And it's your only job, male or female, it's your only job to be the best parent in the world, to be the best husband or wife in the world, to be the best you in the world. Raise Jesus Christ within you. This is what you do to Christ Jesus. Christ is the one that crosses the blood-brain barrier impurity. And you have to give him the alkaline man to do it. And we've done hundreds of videos on this subject. Go ahead, Angel.
And Apophyses just wrote, time to activate the Merkaba. And look at that word, Merkaba.
Merkaba. Father, mother, child. Father, mother,
The
child. Father, mother,
mother
child.
in balance with the father. And the father is on either side of the mother, Abba. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Even in the Hebrew, Heva and Heve, Heve and Heva. That's Eve. Eva, Eve. That's the Virgin Mother Mary. And she is the one who has been taken out of the Bible. And her expressions, because Jesus is an expression, Joshua is an expression of Jesus Christ. Mary Magdalene is an expression of our Sacred Mother. Why is her name Magdalene? I mean, with 3 years we've been teaching you this. Magdalene, of the motion. Mag in Sanskrit, oldest, most sacred language that we have, Sanskrit, and mag, M-A-G, mag is motion, which is mother, Mary, mare, mar, sea, ocean, magnetism. Magnetism always moves. It never stops moving. It's a field. You turn it on, it goes forever. It never stops, never needs maintenance, never can dissipate. It's just perfect all the time. That's all it does. It's just on. It's on or off. It's on. We have to turn it on.
Remember that in the Bible, light was, how many times is light talked about? But it was the divine spark. Right? So it's just the twisting of a tiny word can completely change. It blows me away. So now you start thinking about things with the proper letters, the proper words, and you can decode this, and it blows your mind. The divine spark in all of us.
Yeah.
We have to turn it on.
Yeah. So
suppressed.
Yeah. So don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself. And then of course, the apostles not wanting to move forward with Mary Magdalene at the head of this movement, started by her and Jeshua, makes perfect sense. We've decoded Matthew and Revelation. You know, for the most part, how clownish the disciples, apostles were most of the time, virtually getting everything wrong again and again and forgetting and needing constant reminders for everything. You can see that when Jeshua was taken away from them, that they would fall again, and they would fall, and they would see Mary as a woman, that somehow that is less than. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
That's what happens to us every time our left brain takes over and our right brain falls down, because it needs that God spark to keep us risen.
Right. Right. And risen is up and to the right, 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 up and to the right. That's what the blood-bearing barrier is for, here on the right side of your neck. And only thou which is pure is supposed to get through. But when your whole body is toxic, there's nothing it can do. Your brain needs blood. And so the circle of Willis is, and remember, circle of Willis is more than anything, is a tomb, is a temple. And therefore, if you have a righteous frequency, then the circle of Willis works on many, many levels to purify that blood. It's a stake. The circle of Willis within you, where the blood that comes through the blood-brain barrier goes in, that's your last chance to make this as pure, as clean and pure blood as possible, because your mind, your right hemisphere of your brain, is a fine-tuned engine. It's the motor of the world. And that's what Jesus Christ is. The motor of the world is in the right brain. That's where God is. That's where the Mother of Mary is. And that's where Santa Claus is. None of them reside in the left brain. What do you want? Why do you want to stay there? What is the left brain? anger, frustration, guilt and fear and desire and possession and status and fame and fortune. And it's the undoing of you. You don't know you. You wear a mask. When you wear a mask because your ego is in control and you're ashamed of yourself, so you put a mask on and you let the ego run amok.
We've gotten so far that it literally, we put a mask on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do
Do it. Take it off.
So cast thy net to the right. It's all about the right. So once again, to the whole group, hopefully we'll be able to do a show with you soon. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Seriously.
And what I said live to, because a lot of people have been asking what I said to Negative 48, I just said, it's amazing because not only do you sound like John, and I would know, I have studied the Kennedys my whole life. Not only does he sound like a John F. Kennedy Jr., not saying that he is, but he sounds, but just all the mannerisms, the cadence, the very relaxed nature that was John.
Could be a brother.
But it could be a brother. A lot of Colleen has been sharing with me, people speculating that it would be Patrick Bouvier Kennedy. Yeah. And then remember the shows that we did with Justin. And I told you live that I didn't know enough about Abraham Lincoln. I've just been doing so much research and everything because they lied to us about everything, express everything. Haven't had time. And then I said, I've got to know more about Abraham Lincoln. I started to do the research and then God provided everything I needed to do. And then boom, we watched the movie, which was the Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer. That movie was a calm from beginning to end, total white hat production. And then that movie was the icing. It just absolutely clarified in my mind everything that I needed to know that I've been researching and finding the truth about Abraham Lincoln. And then, wow, you see this bloodline. You see this bloodline. Adolf Hitler in Germany. Why do you think they treated Adolf Hitler in Germany the way they did? Remember, when Hitler had just taken power in Germany, which was it was a minority government in the Reichstag, the parliamentary government that they had, which is communism and designed to fail.
That's right.
And still don't think we have 20 something odd dogs. Oh. Hey, Lolly. So, but again, why? So Hitler had just taken, not even a sense that his government would survive a week, let alone, a month or a year or something. And then right away in the fake Jew Zionist organizations from all around the world started attacking Adolf Hitler in Germany, saying, which I have all of the evidence, I've done all the work, I have the original flyers and whatnot, copies of them, that was created during that time, and I put into the video that I did about the truth about Adolf Hitler, which is on LBRY TV, Library TV, LBRY TV. And I'll redo it and I'll complete the series, but only when it doesn't get shut down everywhere. So, so the threats that they were saying at that point, Hitler hadn't done anything, and it didn't look like his little minority government would last at any length and they were calling Hitler and Germany the scourge of the earth, and that they needed to be destroyed to every last man, woman, and child. Now, who says shit like that? That's sick. That is sick and diseased and evil, and he hadn't done anything. So it doesn't make any sense from that perspective. Did Hitler, who was an incredible Christian, now Hitler tolerated all religions. There were so many alternative religions that were started in Germany after Hitler took power because he encouraged all faiths to be able to express themselves freely. The biggest was in Christian churches, and Adolf Hitler was a devout Christian, and a devout believer, follower in Jesus Christ. Did Adolf Hitler provide safe haven to the Order of the Blue Rose? Did Adolf Hitler go out of his way to bring them safely into Germany and to protect this bloodline that had been used and abused and slaughtered and murdered all the way to Armenia throughout, time beyond recall? Is this why he was hated so much? Is this why the real Holocaust that happened? Remember, where does the first use of the term Holocaust come from? And I should say genocide come from? It came from, in World War I, the Turkish slaughter of specifically men, but women and children as well, in Armenia. The Turks were ordered in World War I to attack, slaughter, and murder these Armenians. And that was the first time that genocide was used publicly in news, was this. And remember, until very recently, very recently, the United States had never acknowledged that there was a genocide in Armenia, and everybody knows there was. My God, and a lot of nations of the world never acknowledged it. That's powerful comms. These are comms. These are clues. They can't help but show you who they are. Symbology will always be their downfall. Every time they open their mouths will be their downfall, because everything that is God, which is good, and everything comes out of the mouth is a lie and is evil.
Remember, symbology in itself isn't a bad thing. It's what they are
They
using the
do
symbology
with
for.
it.
They've turned all of the good symbology upside down. So when they show you the inversion of something, that's their downfall. They're showing us who they are and how they're practicing this black magic through their words, through
Yep. So
events.
I would humbly suggest that Adolf Hitler and Germany, which were powerful Christians, had a role to play with this. And then, like I said, I did the video, and then what do we find out through all the research? That Henry Ford was a massive admirer of Abraham Lincoln, and that Henry Ford was powerfully tied to Joe Kennedy, and was powerfully tied to Adolf Hitler. And then that powerfully ties them to a young John Kennedy. And then John Kennedy is powerfully tied to Donald Trump. And there you see this bloodline in movement, in actuality on earth. And what did they all do? What did they do? Not anyone in between. What did they do? They tried to save the world, and not just for their country, not just for one. They tried to save the world. These are magically goodly, godly people. Is this the bloodline? Is this through the Order of the Blue Rose? Is this the Jesus strand?
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's magic. I told you from the moment we started sharing things with you, we are magic. We are made by God. We are the pinnacle of His creation. So all of this is, all of us can do this. It doesn't just come down.
And that's what taking back our power means.
Exactly. And doing the work means, because when you do the work, it means you're raising Joshua and Mary, Joshua, Jeheshua, and Mary Magdalene. And Mary Magdalene, who is the magnetic motor of the world, carrying the child, raises up inside of you, the Kundalini raising what? Christ consciousness, which is literally real inside of us as prism oil. Wow.
Which lights the flame.
And you have to become the light of the world. And you can only do this by being alkaline. We're frugivores. Why are you trying to be the worst carnivore in the world? Even these demon left-brain
carnivores,
Canaanites, they're not eating meat. They drink blood. All carnivores lap blood. If they eat any solidity, it's only the organs, because the organs are filled with dark blood, rich blood.
And we're so sorry. Justin was on a live with
Tony today?
No, The
Oh,
vegetable
that
police.
vegetable police and their
Casey,
show. Okay.
I'm so sorry. We didn't realize that. We should have been in better contact and we could have started a half hour later, but.
We got
sorry, guys.
rained. We got rained out a bit. We're doing the show today. I should have started with it. We're doing the show because we got rained out of workers today. We have no workers here. So
Guys,
we
like,
have
you
the
want to do
ability to
video
do a
at
show.
once? I'm like, oh,
Yeah. So sorry about that for everyone who's been back
sorry.
and forth.
Yeah.
So, but it's just we got rained out today. So
Sorry, Justin. Sorry, Casey.
love you
Hey,
guys.
family.
So, okay, so let's jump back over. I mean, we've been talking about all of this anyways, but let's jump back over specifically. So first off, we talked about this at the top of the show. So what does it mean to educate your children? I guess we all agree to that, right? That's part of a role that a parent, a rent of pairs, earthly parents play for their children. If you're going to bring them into this world and you're their guardians, then you should be the guardians of the galaxy.
And saying parents is no, it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's a beautiful gift that we get to be able to share that time with those beautiful souls and participate in that whole fatherly, motherly event.
Absolutely. And then thank you for that, because once again, Charlie, who has no filter, can come on too strong again with that. But a pair of rents, ultimately, I mean, that's
are really beautiful.
It's the truth. It's what we are. We're a pair of rents. And like Colleen said, it's a beautiful gift that we're able to share with everyone, that, we are, divine to play this role, a powerful role. So what is that role and what does that look like with regard to education? Well, and how did it get to a point where no one feels that they can do an adequate job?
The brainwashing has worked.
Exactly, because the pair of rents have done it beautifully forever. And it's only in the last 110 years, from 1910 onwards, that suddenly we think that we can't do this. And that's a part of modern science coming into this, because with their, theoretical formulas that are very complex. And it's a mathematics that very few people understand. And so you got to leave it to the experts and they'll teach it, because it's all and it's lies. The theories are lies. God's creation in terms of how he did it all is certainly beyond me, probably beyond all of us. But in terms of the application of the father and the mother, it's powerfully logical, it's powerfully simple, because that's God and the mother love us. They want direct, they want gnosis. They don't want confusion. The only one who wants confusion is the cabal, the left brain, the ego.
They just have to plant a seed of doubt.
And so now you think you can't do this. So breathe, let it all out. It's a lie. You are born to do these kinds of things. You are born to be a teacher. You're born to be the shepherd. And that's
when you start to put on the armor of God. When you really understand God's word and you begin to meditate on it, you begin to fill your mind with it, you become stronger and your spine becomes stronger, and you have a backbone that is strong in the foundation of who you really are, which is magic and is the child of God. That's the truth. And some of us, it's taken us a long time to discover that information, but wow, what a transformation when you get that. It just fills you up, and you suddenly don't have just beliefs anymore, that in the wind, they can change like a leaf in the wind. You have a gnosis that nobody can throw off. You've got that strong foundation built on that rock.
Beautiful. It is true. It's absolutely true. So well said, Col. Really quickly, I want to keep moving forward with this, but really quickly, Richard Garcia, brought forth the question. He said, the Jesus strand, Order of the Blue Rose, is different from the story of astrology. How does it?
Question, is it?
Yeah, or is it a formative question? Okay, yeah. How does it tie together? They're not different. They're not different at all. The sabotage of the one story inside of us metaphysically is always done by the left brain. The sabotage of the beauty and the wisdom and the strength and the courage of Joshua, Jeheshua, and Mary Magdalene is hijacked by the left brain, by the ego. It's no different. It's no different. The story of Joshua, Jeheshua, and the Mary Magdalene continuing the order of the Blue Rose and the Jesus strand is simply the one story being manipulated constantly by the ego. And for the last 2,000 years, for the last 6,000 years, we've been sucking off the tit of the Babylon whore. Take a look at most truthers. They're not interested in the truth. They're interested in subscribers. They're interested in people who give them money. They're interested in fame and fortune. That's bullshit. None of those things matter.
It's an error.
All that matters is
Missing
the
the mark.
truth. It's the way. Jesus Christ was the truth. Jesus Christ is the truth. All he did is teach the truth. That's why so many people in the world today believe in the new age spiritual Jesus, who's really nice and everything goes. You've got your truth, I've got my truth, and God loves us all, and it's just a big party. Drink your beer. And yeah, no. Jesus was strong.
He was a warrior.
He was a bull. He was the higher bull. He is the New Testament of the Bible. He's the blue bull. He was a bull. He was Taurus. He's the right Taurus. And he was strong as a bull, and he only told the truth. And don't kid yourself about Mary Magdalene. She was strong. She only, because she's a representation of the sacred feminine mother. What's the sacred feminine? We're going to get into this in just a sec, but she's the answer. She's the way. She's truth. She's pure truth. Who rises within us? Mother and child. Mother Mary and Jesus Christ rise within us. That's the whole point of why you're here.
And what does the cabal do? They try to
righteous.
separate the mother and child.
Of course.
They try to separate
Of course.
the father, mother, child.
Destroy the family, destroy the nuclear family.
That was their goal.
Always. And how do we get women into the workforce? Because there's a competition against men.
So
What?
moving forward, what do? We unite. We unite each other.
Resurrection.
We put the phone down, we put the TV away, we put whatever it is that's distracting us from the things that matter the most, which is each other.
Hey, I see Aaron.
Hi, Aaron.
Aaron X. Jesse, Aaron in the chat room. Aaron, we love you. Hello,
And
brother.
Kira and Jira.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Love you guys. Kira
Sean and
and
Marie. Oh, so many.
Jeremiah went back
So many
to
beautiful
Prince
people.
Edward Island, which is so beautiful. So we missed them. We had a couple of wonderful fires. Oh, by the way, coming soon is going to be a regular series at nighttime. And it's going to be by the fireside, and they're going to be the fireside chats. And so Justin and Eugene will join Colleen and I and a million animals and the moon, and the sun's hiding, but he's there, and God's there, and Mother's there, and everyone will be there. And so we're going to just do really relaxed, informal shows, sort of a general theme for each show, and then just relaxed around the fire. You'll see the fire. Justin seems to think it's important to try and show us from time to time as well, but mostly it's important to see the fire and hear the words. So, but that's going to be fun too. That's going to be a lot of fun. So the fireside chat, and that'll be right here at Casa Lothlorien, our beautiful home. And yeah, so thank you. So it's a slippery slope. Aaron said in the chat, it's a slippery slope on that left side, and it is. You give it an inch, it takes a mile, and that's what he's referring to. That's why these expressions, these dark things of old, as Bill Donahue says, never go away, because they're the truth. It's commonsensical logic and reason, Spock, pineal gland. It's common sense, and that's why they never go away. It's a slippery slope, because you give the left brain an inch, it takes a mile. It's the dime. It's the dime. And those little rides you put a dime in when you were a kid, they go on and on and on and on. You give an inch, it takes a mile. So can't do that. So they're tied. They are the story of the story of Joshua, Jeheshua, and Mary Magdalene, and then the Jesus strand and the Order of the Blue Rose is completely tied to the one story. It's completely tied to astrology. It's telling you the same story. Astrology constantly shows you this sacred process. What did we just teach you on that 2-part series that we did about the astrological sky clock? If you don't go in at Christmas. And that's why Colleen's going to transform. You're going to see this. Colleen's going to transform all of this into Christmas Day, 365 days a year, because it should be the celebration of Christ Mass every single day. It's going to be lit up, pine trees, pine cones everywhere, and it's going to be lit up with
It's not going to
light.
be a quick transformation.
No.
This could take years.
Well, and you have no time to do anything,
I know,
so, but you'll make it work. You always do. So, but that's the significance of Christmas and Christ Mass, and that's why we're going to be celebrating it here. And so, this is what we must create constantly, or the left brain comes back into all of this, and it's powerful because it's a liar and it's a manipulator, and that's what the cabal is. So it ties in perfectly. Astrology shows you that if you don't go into the tomb at Christ Mass, December 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, if you are not in that tomb, this is your tomb. The hypothalamus, where the chrism oil rests, which is the bottom part of the third ventricle of your brain. There's the third ventricle of your brain right there. Pineal gland up and to the right, pituitary gland down and to the left, hypothalamus, which is this chamber it goes down and to the right and then levels out. So this is the symbology of Christ's body being laid to rest for 3 days and 3 nights in the temple, in the tomb. These are your temples. This is your holy temple. Solomon's temple is here. This is it. This is the Ark of the Covenant right here. This is your sphenoid bone, flat earth right here. This is the dome. This is the firmament, okay? So it's all there for you. And this is where it's all happening. And this is why we have to do what it is that we have to do. So they are one and the same. If you don't go in at Christmas time, when we swing out of Christmas and everything comes to life again, because we have so many things happening, Aquarius, and that is cleansing all of the lies and giving us the truth. And then it's Pisces, the 2 fish of wisdom, higher wisdom from God. So we have the truth of the mother. We have the baptism of water with the mother. We have the baptism of fire through the 2 fish in wisdom in Pisces arising. And then we come upon the level again. And upon the level, so key at 3 o'clock, you have us, Libra, born free. So one of the things that negative 48 teaches is the correct birth date of Jesus Christ in terms of the astrological sky clock, which is coming at the end of Virgo and just at the beginning of Libra, because of course the child is born free, is Libra, and has to come out from the ending of the mother, which is the Virgin Mary Virgo, which is right after the father, the lion king of all, which is God, which is at 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, rock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, rock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, rock. We're going to rock around the clock tonight. So it builds 3, 6, 9. You notice that in that song? Rock around the clock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3, 6, 9. Rock and roll, because it's all about rolling the rock, rolling the rock. Fornix, your fornix has to roll. And then that's the alchemical marriage in the chamber of the bridegroom. Bridegroom, B ride, B mother to the G room, God room, the B ride, mother ride to the G room, Kundalini rising. So it's a mass. And then
like a little elevator.
And that's right. And Jesus Christ has to go along for the ride, and he holds the mother's hand up the aisle. Wait a minute. All those church aisles are level. They're all level. Why is the best man always walking up the aisle? Because it's a spine. And that's why, because it's up and to the right. And that's that alchemical marriage to God. So it's magical stuff. So it's in perfect alignment. It's in perfect. Richard is in perfect alignment. What makes it look like it's not is because the ego is in control and has been in control powerfully for the last 110 years.
And we each have one of them.
That's right. And really for the last 6,000 years, and this is the age of the Babylonian captivity for 6,000 years, okay? And so we have to cast off this dark raiment. And that's the shadow captain. You're the captain of your vessel. The shadow captain's your ego. That's where that term shadow captain comes from. It's your ego. Okay, so let's jump right back into this again. It's okay because it just beautifully ties everything together, because we're still talking about the one story. So, so going back into all of this, what are we supposed to do? So it's our responsibility to do something. And so what do we? So we have to educate them. EDUCATE, educate them. It's a very bizarre word for this process, and it's a distraction. And so what education has meant is that, well, we got to learn in the letters. We got to learn them the letters. I'm not learning the letters.
Reading, writing, and math.
Reading and writing and arithmetic, the 3 R's. I thought it was arithmetic. Well, I'm kind of lazy.
Oh,
So
they just took God out of it. That's all.
exactly. Reading, writing, arithmetic. Yeah. So yeah, and they took the W out of writing, right? The 3 R's. So the W is the father in the vagina of the mother, the womb. So very clever, these demons. Not wise, but clever. So what are we supposed to be doing? Is we're supposed to be making them wise. That's that. So go back to the astrological sky clock. Look at what happens. We have the wisdom to fall. If we have the wisdom to enjoy autumn, AU tomb. How does anyone not see this or get this? What is the fall of man? Autumn. AU is gold. 121. AU is gold. Why do I say 121? Because A is 1 and U is 21. 121. There's only 2 ways to achieve in arithmetic. There's only 2 ways to achieve 121. You can take God 121 times an atom together. That's kind of like laminin within our body that holds us together. Not in those people that drink children's blood, by the way, and they bleed to death. That's why they're vampires. And that's why they're always,
So
wasting away.
121, how do you get it?
And the only other way is 11 times 11.
Isn't that brilliant? You can't make this, I mean, you can't make this stuff, you can't lie about this stuff. This stuff points to the direction of divine creation.
God is so smart.
Holy catfish.
Wow. 11, because gold is created between the temples. What did we just say is Christ Mass? Christ Mass is all about 3 days and 3 nights between the temples. And that's the third ventricular ring. So gold, autumn, you have to have the courage to fall. God knows what he's doing. See, he's in charge. You're not in charge. Don't worry about any of this. It's great. And during that time, if you want to introduce some vegetables and even some sort of cooking, it's not really cooking, it's just heating, it's just steaming. That's okay. It's okay. You're not killing the food when you heat it and steam it. When you cook it and murder it under those, because you're in a hurry and it's 400 degrees and stuff, he's taking the life out of it. It's just wasted it.
Kind man does not kill.
We don't do that. So it's that time of the year. We're coming very soon again. This is the time of the year. If you want to start in the morning, just putting in a big one of those big trays or pots or whatever, and just putting some beautiful, vegetables of the earth, and you just low heat steam them all day long, and then you just enjoy them. A little sea salt and a little pepper, and oh my gosh, they're so delicious. And that's the perfect time of the year to introduce them back into your system, because your body is a circadian rhythm. Every aspect of you is a circadian rhythm, and it's in tune with what's happening with the Mother Earth and the Father in heaven. It's in tune with the astrological sky clock. So it knows that you're falling. So if you introduce some squash, if you introduce some sweet potatoes, your body is more ready to be able to ingest those things again. And it's beautiful. And it feels like autumn again, because it looks like autumn. What do you think a squash looks like? What do you think a sweet potato looks like? They look like the definition of fall, don't they? So don't fear the reaper. Don't fear the fall, because what is fall? Autumn. AU tomb. That's your tomb. You are the golden child, but only if you go in the tomb, inside the 2 temples, Solomon's temple. That's you. So it's all supposed to happen. We're supposed to fall. And that's why all the fruit comes ripe June 22nd during the summertime, and you're just eating that raw food. You don't have any time to do anything else, because you're just, you're at the lake and you're on camping trip in the mountains, you're here, there, and everywhere. You're doing a million things in the summer. So that's why There's watermelon, and that's why there's orange juice, and that's why there's apples and pears and peaches and nectarines and everything
Justin's
growing on the
saying,
tree.
try it without the spices, the salt and the pepper.
Oh, Justin.
And you know, you can have celery, which would add a little bit of celery salt, and that would be lovely. And yeah,
And
agreed.
Justin's right,
Agreed.
because you are a pillar of salt. You are salvation. So you produce your own salt anyways, but
We're used to being heavily inundated with salt, and once you move away from it, I mean, it's a transitional thing too. You just try it.
the
try it.
the beauty about salt, remember, is that it always tells you in every single moment when you're having too much. Always.
We just haven't learned how to moderate and to listen to that.
That's
So
right.
that's the thing. We've tricked our senses for so long. But once we become cleaner and our system
Yeah.
is regulated better, and we're in tune with it.
Yeah, and Justin's all right. He's just talking about herbs are a healthy way to add flavor. And again, in Mexico here, they grow cilantro. Cilantro is amazing. I mean, and you know, all the herbs are, and Colleen has so many herbs growing, including herba buena, the good herb. That
Minty. It's
that it
wonderful.
is really, really wonderful as
Yeah,
well.
herbs are
Spearmint
amazing.
is, I think, what we would call herba buena spearmint. And it's absolutely amazing. So they are, and it's beautiful. And you don't need to do anything to them. You just pick them fresh and add them in. And it's incredible because here, this is the studio where we sort of work on our computers. You see the door was just put in. We're getting close to finishing this room as well. And then just behind us here, of course, are the birdies. And often when I have the time, I wish I would just make the time to do it for them every single day. I don't, but I wish I did. But many days and during the week, I get fresh cut basil. So all the basil that's gone to seed, I just snip and then I bring it in for them, about 4 or 5. And then I'll do that first thing in the morning when I'm scooping poop and stuff like that. And I'll bring them up to the birds. And then by the time I'm back here to be able to do any work, it's often 11:30, noon, something like that. And I come in here after 4 hours of just 4 or 5 little pods filled with basil seeds. That's it. It's not even any basil flowers or leaves on them. It's just the seeds. The entire room, this is a big room, the entire room smells like basil, doesn't it? It's just the most amazing thing. Incense.
Yep.
Beautiful. Absolutely
better
beautiful.
Than the stinky dog smell.
Yeah. So, okay. So that they're in perfect alignment, Richard. Great question. And
Quick,
and
turn
it's
the fake
really,
bird track on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will.
Oh my gosh.
They're quiet right now. They're sleeping, seriously.
And boy, yeah, the female bird, Jupiter, right? Blue Jupiter, and Soul is he's he's been here since we've been here. So this is nine years now at this house. And Soul is producing through Jupiter so many eggs. It's incredible. Colleen built them or made for them a little birdhouse, and wow. So
Not using it yet.
yeah, but they have so many eggs, so it's really cool.
It'd be really cool.
They're amazing, and especially Soul. He's amazing. So I don't know for the little budgies if that's normal for 9 years, but he just keeps going and going, and he's producing so many eggs. It's incredible. So she is, but he's the inspiration. He's the inspiration. So I love them both so much. But okay, so moving right along, what is it that we're supposed to be teaching? Okay, here we go. We're supposed to grant them wisdom. And the wisdom is, and this is the beauty of being a teacher. It doesn't fall.
Teaching someone how to fish.
That's exactly right. So all you're doing is you're taking them to, if you want to teach them to fish, then you have to take them to the fish pond. Well, that's Mother Nature.
And don't use a hook.
And exactly. So you just cast thy net, cast thy line into the mother, and then you reap abundance. So
it's an allegory.
So what we're saying is that the first thing that God created after we fell down to this plane, the materialistic plane, and this is duality. Can't argue with it. It is. Everything here has a polar opposite. And there's a right and a wrong way that guides everything. That's the overriding factor to all of these dualities, is that there's a right and a wrong. And you know the difference because you have the silver cord to the solar plexus, that gut intuition runs to your pineal gland. That's silver and gold. Pineal gland gold, silver cord is the mother, pineal gland the father, and the solar plexus, God, the place of creation within you. And it's always telling you, shouldn't have trusted that guy. Shouldn't have listened to him or her. I should have gone with my instinct. I should have done this. I should have. Always. This God constantly loves you, constantly showing you the way, constantly teaching you the right way. And if you have Jesus Christ risen within you, then you always get these messages and you're always in tune with that frequency, because everything's a frequency. God is metaphysical. So if you're just solely physical, why do all the people who don't even believe in God and don't believe in heaven and just think that they're here to live for 60 years, get sick and die, and that's totally cool? Why do you think they miss the message? Because the message is alchemical, because the message is a frequency, because the message is metaphysical, because it's not solid. And these people are the quintessential photographs of solidity. And stupidity and solidity go hand in hand. Just saying. So
Density.
So when you become light, you begin to fill yourself up with light. And what is light? Frequency. It's a frequency. And then you start to hear these messages within you telling you what to do, where you never get it wrong in any single moment. You always get it right by casting thy net to the right. And you become alkaline, which is light. You become light.
You become a mass star.
And then you rise and you become the mass star. So it's just all about this righteousness. So that's what God created. And the first thing he created is the mother. She is the mirrored opposite to the father. So God is everything, but God took on, he loves us, he took on the role of a heavenly father. And so the brilliance of being cheeky in the Garden of Eden and not listening to God and obeying and taking a bite out of the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that's just an allegory. The tree of knowledge of good and evil, left brain, right brain, duality. And taking a bite of the fruit from the talking snake is your ego. The fruit is a thought. And now, once you understand that, you see how this explains everything in the Bible about food? Genesis 1:29. Let trees and the fruit upon those trees and the seeds that they produce be thy food. That's it. Genesis 1:29, right in the beginning, telling you that's what you do. And you poop out the seeds, and there's the seeds and the fertilizer, and you produce fruit trees, and it's just abundant everywhere.
That's why trees were so big in the ancient times, because people were the process
They were
of going through
giants.
this, right? Maybe.
They were giants.
And we stopped doing that, didn't
Yeah.
we?
Exactly. That's right. Eating the fruit, and they were giants. So yep, eat death and you're gonna die. It's
And I
that
can
simple. It's
imagine
common sense.
how many years it would take for the regenerated man to start growing taller and taller.
And that's a really good question. We don't have time for it today, but that's a great question because it will happen. It will happen. Your DNA turns on and off as it's required. It's the room of requirement in Harry Potter. Harry Potter, the room of requirement is your DNA. It's like Hogwarts wants us to win. It's like the house you were born in.
Right.
So it's just the room requirement. It's just your DNA activating, switching on and off. And so junk foods are powerfully screaming to your inner mechanism to shut down, to shut off. So that's why they call them junk foods. They're laughing at you because it turns your DNA into junk DNA. There's no such thing as junk. There's on and off, activated, green, go, and red, stop. So you're just red light foods. You do.
We're hanging out in the red light district.
You're hanging out in the red light district, and your DNA is going off, 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 and then you're Homer Simpson.
Good one.
But even Homer Simpson can become Nikola Tesla. Well, I probably went too far, and I apologize, Nicola. But it is possible, and all you have to do is switch it on, way on. Why do you think all those words end in T,
Ion.
the cross, T-I-O-N? Because in the physical, you must turn the single I. I'm not making it up. It's a single I. What's a small I? Whoop. Pillar, whoop. Single I. Above spine, whoop. Single I.
And that
Your
would be
single
the
I is
light.
right here.
That would be the flame.
And that's right, which is the lit flame. And then it's on. So you turn the single eye on in the physical, and that's how you become Jesus Christ. Resurrection, right? It's all Sean, because you have to shine, and you're shining through the Sean, T-I-O-N. T, physical, fourfold nature of man. Your physical frame has to be turned on by illuminating the single eye.
And so what
If
does
thine
Cabal,
eye be single.
what do the Cabal do? They steal the word, the Illuminati. They become the ones enlightened.
Wow.
And they put out their flame a long time ago.
Yep. They're not enlightened at all. They are the most unenlightened. And we're just fools for hanging out with them by the corner tabernacle.
Yep.
It's foolish. So first thing God created is the mother. The mother is the mirror opposite of the father. So it's just solidity versus frequencies. So it's just frequencies, but it's just frequencies now in the most brilliant way that brings shape and form. It's so beautiful. The earth is so beautiful because what you're seeing is what the mother looks like. So you want to know how gorgeous Mother Earth is, how beautiful of a woman she is? Look around at nature lately. Everywhere I look, it's well, I'm fortunate because I get to stare at this gorgeous creation, and she's just so pure Virgo. It's incredible. She's just such a sacred feminine within her. And then you look out everywhere in nature, and it's just beautiful. That's the mother, and that's her frequency manifesting itself in the materialistic plane. Why doesn't God do that? Because he's not here. And you go to church and give up all your money and wear your fancy clothes and you build statues for Jesus and stuff. No, he doesn't want that at all. None of them want that at all. They want you to do the work inside of you because that's where they are.
What do you mean he's not here?
God is in heaven above. This
So
is heaven in you. This is where
so
God
he doesn't
is within
fall
you.
when we fall.
He doesn't fall because he is the creator. Someone has to be at home. Someone has to keep the fire burning. See why these allegories
So
exist?
he stays in his frequency of stillness
Always.
and silence and the God frequency.
Always.
We're the ones who do the falling. And what do we need to do? We need to rise back up. So that's what you mean when you say God's not here.
And so when he created the mother,
God's everywhere, right?
Right. So God created himself as positive. He created himself as electrical. He created himself as light, as bright. He created himself as the sun. He created himself as daytime. He created himself as the Tiffany blue sky. And the mother is solid, and the mother is dark, and the mother is negative, and the mother is milk, not honey. And honey is a preservative, lasts and lasts and lasts and lasts and lasts. Milk is not a preservative, it spoils easily. So the nighttime is all about decay. You have to have decay. You have to have this production of vitamin B12, this decay that naturally occurs on the skin of all of life in nature, because if there wasn't decay, then within 7 years, we'd be overrun by growth and we'd be suffocated. So you have to have balance. It's all about her, the middle way, the green way, the middle way, the fourth of 7 chakras. The heart chakra is the mother.
And the letter K, line,
Out
K
K line
is all about balance.
is all about balance. Just look at the letter K.
Is all about balance.
And just look at that letter K, the spine of the child, brave and true, courageous, straight and narrow. And then you have the angle of the father, you have the angle of the mother, and they're in perfect harmony. They're in perfect harmony.
Both
The world
touching
above,
heaven.
the world below. Yeah.
Earth.
And what do I mean? Again, God is within you, but he's here. The Mother Mary is within you right now, but she's down here in the shitter. That's the Muladhara root chakra. What are you doing? What are we all doing? Forcing her to stay down there. Let her rise to her husband. Let them complete this alchemical marriage between the mother and the father, where we are the best man. And when you do that, the only way to do it is to rise. You rise within yourself. And when you rise within yourself, you become the best man. But then another way of expressing best man, master. What's another way of expressing best man or master? Jesus Christ. Joshua Jehashua. Joshua Jehashua. Master, rising within you. And that's why the mother is magnetism. So you see, she's the mirror opposite of God because it creates balance. So balance is the key. Balance is the key to everything. What are the three master numbers? We're talking about numerology. What are the three master numbers? 11, K, 22, M, and 33. 33. 11, 22, 33. 33 vertebrae with our spine. We are the children. We are the children within this form, and we have to live this journey of 33 years, of 33 experiences, of 33 whatever you want to.
33 is like a location.
And it's a frequency, and it's a frequency as well, and you have to rise. Okay, you have to rise. When you get to the capstone, you can go no further because the brain stem is born out of the atlas vertebrae, so you can't go any further.
And this whole process is about the return of the king.
Sure, surely is.
We are going to return to Clan Man because we're going to light the flame. And the return of the king in the out there is also coming so very soon.
Yeah.
So very soon.
And you will see, because the one who has the right to call himself a true king would be that bloodline of the Order of the Blue Rose, the Jesus strand, those that have done the work, those that were prepared, ready, willing, and able to die for all of us to show us the way, to light the way.
The plan has been rolling out for a very long time. Beautiful, beautiful plan.
President Trump is an amazing person, and he has played an enormous role, but it's just a role. He is not the be all and end all in this. And he's totally okay with that because that's how enlightened he is.
He might be Patton's son.
Sure looks
what an interesting story it's going to be when it unfolds.
Yeah. The Patton and Donald Trump, not only do they sound alike, act alike, and look alike, they just seem to embody one another, just everything about them. And yep. So
be done by the military.
So
Trump part of the military.
So there is the return of the king. So now, what does this tell you about Professor Tolkien? Yeah, and what we've been teaching you about the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, Q team, the Two Towers, the necessity to clean up this mess and go within 3 days and 3 nights. Then comes the return of the king, who unifies two worlds as one. Two worlds as one. And that's what this is all about. It's always been about. And that's the one story, which is the letter Q.
Which is an O. Bridging.
You have two O's in your alphabet. You have two O's in your alphabet. You see them, and they're almost touching one another. There's just one thing that separates them. That's the story. That's the book that I'm writing. That
beautiful
you're gonna love.
Photon light.
God is photon. What separates the O and the Q? Only the P. What is P? Photon. What is photon? God's light. What is God's light? Magnetism. Why? Because it's eternal.
So it's all about the balance. All about the balance. It's all about the K.
And magnetism is M, is Mary, is mother. What is where do we find the letter M in our alphabet? It's 13 of 26. It's 13 of 26.
That's no mistake.
That's the heart chakra. It's green. The Mother Earth is green. She's the heart chakra. She's the letter M. She's 13 of 26. 3, 6, and 9. will unlock the entire secrets of this world. We're going to rock around the clock again. We will. With Bill Haley in the comments, we will. Why did he call himself and the comets? 3, 6, and 9. Telling you. It's all astrologically based because it's the one story. And you don't think of astrology as evil or wicked or something. That's just the church lying to you. God made it. God made everything. God, the first thing he made was the night sky to balance the materialistic plane. When duality was necessary, this is what he did. So the mother is pure truth. She is the mirrored opposite of God in the physical form. So she is God in the physical form. When you see these books that have been suppressed out of the Bible, you are going to shake and shiver because they took her out of all of it. Wait till you hear. I already read the Gospel of the Essenes to you live on air. I did that with Josh about a year ago. And wait till you read these passages for yourself. And what is Jesus saying? You must obey her exactly as him, for she is the Lord of the earth. And now we begin to see with this story of the Christed one, Jesus Christ, Joshua, Jeheshua, and Mary Magdalene, is that you have a Lord Christ and a Lady Christ.
JJMM.
Why would you think it would be any other way? Why do you think God made women as secondary to men? Have you not listened to your partner? Have you not looked at her? Have you not seen how superior she is to us? Colleen is to me in so many overwhelming ways.
I'm gonna write that down.
No, and it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. But it has to be about a guy. That's only because they only allow the guy. It's like, greatest movie, great for me anyways, the greatest movie ever created, A Field of Dreams. They don't mention God once. No, come on. That whole movie's clearly it's about God. And they say heaven. Yeah, they do, but they don't say God because you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to. So the women's just not been shown. Of course it is. Of course there's a Lord and Lady Christ. Of course there is. Who did John Kennedy Jr. marry? Jacqueline Bisset.
No,
Oh, Carolyn Bisset. Carolyn, obviously Jackie.
Mm.
Who did John Kennedy Sr., President Kennedy, marry? Jacqueline Bouvier.
Both from a descent of what?
Southern France.
Interesting.
Southern France.
Where was the
Caroline
Blue
Bisset,
Rose?
Southern France.
Mm.
Carolyn Bisset, Kennedy. Jacqueline Bouvier, Kennedy. There's a reason. There's a reason they've
now we
been
just have to
showing you
tie
the
in
return of the
Melania.
king.
Mm.
Mhm.
Princess Di.
And by the way, like
Mm.
people asked us in the height of 2020 when the demons were putting shit out there about Melania and saying, well, maybe, and blah, blah, blah. All you ever have to do with anyone, including Melania Trump, is look her in the eye and give her a real listen to what she says. And what does she say? And what does she show you? Purity. She's pure. She's pure, and but Charlie, she started off as a mom. Sorry, what? How does a woman make any money and survive in this evil world? Right? You have to sort of dance the dance that the demons make you dance. We've all done
She
it.
was playing a role.
Playing a role. Why are you judging? Why? You looked at yourself lately? What did Jesus say when the fornicator, the woman fornicator, was brought before him? Everybody was picking up their stones. Everybody was getting themselves good and ready to stone her to death. And Jesus said, "Okay, great, go for it. But let the first stone be cast by he who has committed no sin."
Crickets. Crickets.
Jesus, you're always such a downer, man. You're always such a downer, man. You got me again for that truth business. So the mother is sacred and pure, and she's the truth. The first thing that God did when we created duality was a representation of himself. And that's why God is so incredible and so amazing and loves us so much, because even when we didn't listen and we got talked into taking a thought out of our left brain for ourselves by that serpent, which is your ego, he loved us so much. You get him, you get a mother, you get Jesus Christ, you get Mary, Lord and Lady, and Santa.
That's a full package.
That's a full house. That's a full house in the right hemisphere of the brain, the 90.
That's a
Full
winner.
house. That's a winner. That's a 4 and a 5.
That's the best deal I've.
That's a bargain.
That's a
And if
bargain.
I have to crucify myself upon a cross, that's a bargain. The best I've ever had. The best I ever had. All singing about God. All saying. Pete Townsend just saying, I give it all up in a second for this connection to God. And I will. I'd work the rest of my life, and I will. I'd work the rest of my life just to get you, and I will. And that's how you rise, is to get God, to do the work of God, to be Christ-like, to be Jeshua and Mary Magdalene, Joshua, Jeshua, and Mary Magdalene. You have to be virtuous. You have to do the work, and that's virtuous alkaline work. Alkalinity is virtue. So it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Who did all the Allies fight in World War II? Germany and Japan. Wow. They're all about God and the eternally rising sun. Did we get it wrong? Did we cast our nets to the left on that one? Did we get it wrong? Did we attack the wrong people? What did General Patton say? Ooh, time bomb. And then Patton died within a week of making those comments. That's amazing.
What did he say?
And he almost, Patton said, we attacked the wrong people. Patton's job, Patton's sector in West Berlin was the eastern sector of West Berlin. That closest to what they were putting up right away was this Berlin Wall. And Patton said, I've never seen a more virtuous, hardworking, intelligent, dedicated people in my life. And Patton took huge amount of hits because he was employing all sorts of former SS. Oh my goodness, double S, double God, double Taurus field, double sine wave, the Taurus field, those good guys. He was employing former SS officers which was just a no-no, in the machinations of the sector that he was running in West Berlin. And Patton said, you find me someone better, and I'll replace them. Until you do, shut up. And then Patton almost died, and then a few days later he did die. Or did he? So there's a plan in place. And now when you start looking at this, now suddenly you have to take a hard look at Nikola Tesla. You have to take a hard look at Nikola Tesla. And did Tesla die?
There are many layers to this story. It's going to be so fascinating, and
it will blow your mind.
The next few weeks, next few months are going to be really, really interesting. So
and they will, and she's telling you the truth. Colleen's telling you the truth. Why? Because Michael Brian Protzman, -48, is now suddenly here. He wasn't suddenly here a little while ago, but he's suddenly here now. And what's he doing? He's putting the slam dunk that maybe I wasn't capable of doing with for the average person, with that God is real, God is the creator, and all you have to do is cast your net to the right. Thank you, Michael. Oh, Jesus, thank you. I'll keep my promise when you turn that heartbeat over again. Oh, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Jesus.
Buckle up, like Justin says, but put the armor of God on first.
Yeah.
And we're going to need it.
So what are we supposed to do with our children? We're supposed to make them wise. Where does wisdom come from? It comes from the Father, but the Father for our young kids is kind of distant. So what did Jesus teach? Why do they hide it? Why did they take it out of the Bible? Jesus said, you must treat her like him. To get him, you have to be together with her. What Jesus literally taught, together with her. It's what he literally taught, together with her. So she is the God of the physical plane. And if you hand yourself wholly over to the mother, like, I don't know, what does that mean? Eating the fruit that she provides and all the fruit trees that she provides for you?
Honoring nature, honoring thyself, honoring the things around you that are
Water,
God calling you
animals,
every moment.
animals.
Mhm.
Yep, she created them
Giving
all.
service.
She's the mother to them all.
Yeah.
You looked at fireflies lately? Do you want to eat those? Oh, that was so good. We did. You got sick of popcorn, and I love one of the great things about negative 48. He's showing you the gematria for popcorn, and popcorn is powerfully tying in dark to light and the coming of the storm. And the pain and punishment, the Punisher and stuff, and the popcorn ties into all of this. So it's like it's the fruit of the fruition of the movie that's coming, and all the punishment is you get your popcorn, and it's like because that's the punishment that's coming, and then that's why they use popcorn, and of course it ties in because they're saying it's a movie and stuff. It's brilliant, brilliant, but you have to be godly. You have to have the Jesus strand to be able to see this truth in plain sight and live this truth. And that's the thing about, that's the thing. That's, people were asking us really quickly. I said, I didn't know anything because I hadn't heard anything about negative 48. And then we listened to negative 48. And what did I say? Of course, he's telling you the truth. Of course, he's real. Of course, he's goodly and godly, he's righteous, because everything he's telling you is the truth. And how do you know? Because everything he's teaching teaches right back to the Q posts. What's the first thing that we taught you 3 years ago? The Q posts are the real deal. Q is real. And how did we know for sure that Q is real? Trump is a good guy. Because we read all of the Q posts inside and out. And I don't know them. I'm a novice in comparison to the genius that is negative 48 with regard to knowing the Q posts inside and out. And they're all tying into gematria. They're all tying in to the one story. So you see, they've created their one story, which ties into God's one story. We're watching a movie. We're watching the one story movie. So it's like Mel Gibson gave us one version of this, and Mel did a wonderful job showing you who the enemy is, and they're still here. It's the same people that did that to Joshua Jehoshua. They're still here. It's the same group of people. That's it. Those ugly people trying to make themselves look holy, they're the demons. Okay, that's what Mel did. Thank you, Mel. Great job. Now, this movie is showing you the higher aspects and the other aspects to all of this. It's a movie. The Q posts are perfect. They never made a mistake once. And of course, they're far beyond what my mind can decode by itself. I think we decoded a ton, but there's a ton more. And now negative 48 is doing that for us and showing us that it ties into everything. And it doesn't just tie into their one story, it ties into God's one story. So it's perfect. And that's why we said at the beginning, if you want to know for sure that Trump is a good guy and Q is real, read the Q posts. They're brilliant. So what is everything, the purpose of negative 48? What is he doing? He's teaching you the true meaning of these Q posts, and you see that it's just God, pure and simple godliness, and Jesus Christ. You just see it's about Jesus and Mary. It's the Order of the Blue Rose. It's the Jesus strand. It's perfect. That's how you know he's a good guy.
And with that,
So what have they done? We're going to complete this through here in the next 15, 20 minutes. It's miraculous. And this next part is going to affect you in a very negative way, but this is the truth. I want to share this with you. It's very powerful. Why did they create organized schools? Because they had to have an organized society. Why? Because we're the children, we're the bloodline of Abel. So we are righteous, we are goodly and godly, and we naturally cast our nets to the right. So they have to control us from a young age. So now do you see why schools are tied in with the economy and jobs and working? Because they had to destroy the family. And to destroy the family, you have to destroy the true heart and soul of any family, and that is the matriarch of this matriarchal structure. Show me a patriarchal structure, and I will show you problems. Show me a matriarchal structure, and I'll show you true strength. It is a mother. The mother creates the family. The magnetic mother Mary rising, Kundalini, bringing the child, completes with the one to create the three.
Because when you're in your right brain, when you're using that aspect of yourself, you're always seeking balance. You're not looking to take over. You're not looking to control. You're looking to share, to give service. And that's why it's safe to give that kind of service and that kind of control over to the right brain, because it isn't looking to take over. It isn't looking for that kind of upside down inverted power control. It is. So,
Perfectly said.
so that's why a matriarchal, I mean, you can take a matriarch and you can turn her into a left brain carnal monster as well. And there are many women who have done that, who Hillary Clinton is a great example of that, but there are many, many more. And so that is just someone,
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
that is just, if she's really,
Well,
she
the
might-
guy, but
that's right. So, I mean, we've been deceived all the way around, but a true regenerated, a true feminine, divine, beautiful matriarchal woman is always looking to put things in balance and is always looking to share. And that's what's inside of all of us, whether it's a male or a female. We all have that divine feminine. We all have that masculine, that wonderful masculine side to us. So it's like when you give that over to the right side, it's fairness. It's God. God will put everything into alignment. He will balance everything out so that there is that duality of that balance of the left and the balance of the right. 10% for the left and the 90% for the right, because the 90% is the weight of God.
it's so perfectly said. And that is balance. The 10 and the 90 is balance, because if you give the left brain an inch, it takes a mile. So it can only be 10. This is the balance that God intuitively knew and created for us is 10 and 90, because you can't give that left brain anything more, or it will try to take over the world every single day.
And a balanced,
Pinky in the brain.
a balanced woman and a balanced man will be a harmonious family unit. And the mother won't want to leave the children, and the father won't want to leave the children. It will be a partnership of raising those children.
So then you go back to Adolf Hitler. What's the first thing that Adolf Hitler did when he took firm control? And remember, people say, Hitler's a bad guy because of the brown shirts. Are you freaking kidding me?
He made it
the brown
easy.
shirts
Go ahead.
Go.
He made it easy for the mother to do her job. It was flow and ease, and he wanted success for the family.
That's right. Above all else. So
he saw what the left was doing. He saw what the Canaanites were doing. It was all about switching that back to God.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we're going to do in the future as a mass, organization of people. We're going to bring back that balance and bring back that entire paradigm of this family unit of balance.
Yeah, absolutely. So just really, really quickly to interject here with the brown shirts. The brown shirts were necessary in the beginning because they had to get rid of Antifa. They just keep doing the same story over and over again, do the cabal. They don't know anything. They're a one-trick pony, and they keep redoing it. The same
if we
plot.
Could step back from this whole picture and we could have a different perspective, we would see that same plot.
Yeah, that was playing out in Europe at the time. Now it's playing out in North America right now.
If we had that perspective, if we had that ability to go up on the mountain and look down the way that the Q team and the cabal have their view on the other side, but we don't have that perspective. So if we could, we would see that one game playing out, and we would all be going, oh, and the awakening, and that's what they're going to do to us.
So just know those that were raping children, those that were forcing children into the prostitution trade, that were weighting them down, hooking them on drugs, that were just destroying. I mean, these Antifa riders in Germany were literally going around to kindergarten schools or sort of daycare facilities and throwing bombs in and killing large groups of children. Adolf Hitler just said, we have to shut this down, and now. And that's what he did. And you want to, it's what has to happen. And by the way, it's what Trump and the Q team did behind the scenes. Nobody knows about this. and it's not being discussed because there's
But it
no
will be.
real opposition.
But it will be.
There's no real opposition after this. It just looks like there's an opposition because you have to believe in this story. If this story wasn't real, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't be learning anything about them, and you have to see it to believe it.
And believe
Just
it or not,
how awful they are.
there will be transparency.
So there will. And so Adolf Hitler had to move quickly, and he did. Okay. Now, what's the first thing that when he made Germany safe within, what's the first thing he did? Exalted the woman. So Adolf Hitler said, I mean, I can't force you. I'm not going to force you. If you want to continue to work or whatever, that's up to you. But for all the women that want to go back to being a matriarch and really caring about the family, I'm going to make this really, really easy for you. And he began to create grants. And so just the houses in the first 3 years, almost 5 million brand new homes. And these were gorgeous homes. He devised himself. He devised the VW Beetlebug, the peanut car. Hey, it's still the most popular car in the world. And Latin America and Central America, you know, all of it, all the way to South America, is run by the Beetlebug. And let me tell you, they hold their value here in Mexico like something else. You just can't find them to buy them because people that have them don't want to let them go. Why? Because they just work and they work and they work and they work.
Because truth holds
Calm.
value.
Calm. It means that when you build things for the right reasons, they last because we're brilliant. We're able. We're the children. We're the bloodline of Abel. So that's what's coming. Calm. That's what Hitler did. What's the problem with the cars nowadays? They're built to fail. What's the problem with your VCR? It's built to VCR. I'm so out of date with all this technology stuff, but it's all built to fail. Everything is built to fail. Hitler built to last because that just makes sense. Because he was filled with common sense. Because he was a builder of the house of Jesus Christ within him. So that's why. So in the future, yeah, it's going to be. So that's what Adolf Hitler did. So he exalted the woman, made everything so easy for families, grant after grant after grant. And if you had 4 children, you didn't have to pay any of it back. If you had 1 child, you had to only pay back 75%. And by the way, he outlawed usury, so there's no interest, no time limit. You just pay back. For another first thing that Hitler did, by the way, is that all of the families that owned the farmland to be able to feed Germans feeding themselves off the land, what did he do? He gave it, he got rid of all of these loans. He got rid of all of this Rothschild banking system. He captured Baron Louis Philippe Rothschild, who was living in Vienna, Austria, who was the architect of this evil Federal Reserve banking system in Europe and really the whole world. And what did Hitler do? He arrested him. And the Rothschilds had to pay a 9 million Deutsche Mark ransom to get this slug back to their family. And people go, Hitler the Rothschild, Charlie. He's the bad guy and he's the Rothschild. Oh, really? Well, you know, just disgruntled Rothschild then, I guess, because he arrested the head of the Rothschild banking dynasty, held him for ransom, shut down the entire system. What's the other first thing Hitler did? Shut down Freemasonry, right? And then left one open and turned it into a mausoleum, a museum, but really a mausoleum. And people were able to go. He encouraged people to go to see what they were hiding behind. That's why, they hated this guy. They hated this guy because Hitler came out swinging against these demons.
Just before JFK left office, he said, a few days before he was supposedly assassinated, what did he say? I'm going to expose, bring to light.
Yeah, just that's within a week. I've never been able to pinpoint exactly how many days, but it is within a week.
Within 3 days.
Of the assassination in Dallas. And he said that there is a conspiracy that is, threatening the existence of every man, woman, and child on this earth. Mm-hmm.
And he was going to expose it.
Yeah. And he was.
And he has.
So Abraham Lincoln and Adolf Hitler.
As Eugene says, vampire.
Yeah, Henry Ford and you just see Donald, all the way to Donald Trump. You just see.
And so all
John
of this
Kennedy,
disclosure is going to be information that we're all going to be able to use, and we're all going to turn into vampire hunters because they won't be able to walk down the street without us seeing who they really are.
That's right. And that was the problem with them in the first place, which is why they pushed cities. Now they tell us cities been around forever. And of course, you know, you're an idiot if you don't want to live in the city. They haven't been around forever. It is basically, it is a recent creation. And the reason is because they stick out like sore thumbs everywhere they are, because they're so evil. They're so disgusting. And you are on the outside what you are on the inside. So it all plays itself out. So they had to hide themselves, and they did so by encouraging this system. So there's a bunch of reasons. This is what we're talking about now, which is this reason. The schooling is tied at the hip with this economy business and this money business and this banking business. Okay, so why? Because they had to destroy the family, had to get the woman out of the house, and you had to get the woman to work. So then comes you know, this whole new wave of hiring the most brilliant psychiatric or psychological minds that were out there. Sigmund Freud and Edward Bernays, which was Freud's nephew.
So basically,
and Edward Bernays, yeah, a hit
assassin team.
It totally is. And Bernays was at the beginning of this propaganda. So this is where propaganda and that's propaganda. Marketing is just you got a marketing degree? Marketing is just a clever, softer, nicer way of just saying propaganda. Propaganda is just a clever, nicer way of saying fucking bullshit. You effing liar.
So basically, as a parasite, which is a left-brained phenomena, you have to employ all of these systems and institutions to work for you, to parasite off of the able man, because parasites can't create anything. They only become parasitical and feed off the host. So you can take that any way you want. But the bottom line is that that's what man has segregated himself into, is two systems, those that parasite and those that can do. And we basically become, that's what schools have become, is just teaching us how to become parasites or slaves.
Yep.
And so it's just, at this point, they're not even hiding the fact that that's what they are. So capitalism has become so disgusting and so parasitical. It's just that is not the way that kind man needs to go in the future. So our entire systems that have been set up for this need to fall. They need to go. And we need to set up an entirely new kind man paradigm for ourselves moving forward. And so these systems that have completely parasited us into this demon world, we don't even know we're in it. That's how crazy it is. People are fighting for the very system that is taking the essence of their entire community, entire world.
Yeah, so let me thank you, and brilliant. And now let me just show you the depths of how evil and how all of this is tied together and how false all of this is. So we've been played. How badly have we been played, especially for the last 110 years? Okay, this is it. This is it. I'll go as quickly as I can here, and this is just going to shock you. There's no reason. There's no reason at all for us to have industrialization and industrial base. We are frugivores. So we've always been agrarian based. Why do you think there was an industrial revolution? Why do you think our industrial revolution was recent? Not very long ago at all. Why? Why? Who did it? Who did it? The Tartarians? Tartarians were the ones. No, the cabal. The cabal are the ones, these demon monsters, left brain Canaanite vampires. They're the ones that created the Industrial Revolution. Why would we want an industrial revolution? You ever read Professor Tolkien's letters? What did Tolkien say about modernization, the concept and term of modernization, and also what was called industrial creep? And what did Tolkien say about the birth of automated vehicles? And he said it will mean the end of the horse, and he said it will mean the loss of the human soul. That's what he said. It's what Tolkien said. It will result in the loss of the human soul. Why? Why? Because horses are magical, and they are our dogs are our best friend on the land, and in the air, Pegasus, and in the air, horses are our best friends. And ask anyone who like Colleen. Ask anyone who's been around horses, who's ridden horses their whole life, or whose life has always been about a horse. You're one. You're one. When you're on that horse, you're one. It's two worlds in one. It's godly. It is absolutely godly.
Watch Avatar is a really good show for that. And you watch them with that flying
He did
bird.
such a great job of showing the sacred importance to these
connection.
horses, and then they fly, and then you fly, and that these are flying creatures because this is how we do it, by unifying in through the mother, and then anything's possible because she leads you to the Father, and she's magnetic as she rises. So it's all been for nothing. Industrial Revolution to modernize with, it's just an excuse to get you into cities and have jobs, and then money. And we go, well, Charlie, money's been around forever. It really hasn't. It really hasn't. They're lying to you. It has always been just a barter system. It's always been that way, and it's always been kind man.
That's because there's parasites. There's the middlemen, and they have to live off of something else. So they need this currency to be able to hijack your
currency. And your currency is your Christ consciousness, the rising seas of Mother Mary, currency, her seed, raising her son, Jesus Christ, within you, Christ consciousness, the chrism oil, and they hijack it with currency.
That's right. So money has become a Trojan horse for them, and they can sneak in and take your currency without you knowing it.
But God is so brilliant, and gold and silver are so useful in virtually all capacities and have such value and hold its value so well, they couldn't go with gold and silver. See, these effing vampires can't deal with gold and silver. They don't want us to have it, but they can't deal with gold and silver. So they created paper. And that's how our land title office works as well. Possession is 9/10 of the law. How did a tiny group of disgustingly grotesque white guys end up owning all the land in the world if possession is 9/10 of the law? Because wouldn't those 20 million or 200 million Aboriginals that Christopher Columbus discovered when he discovered America, no, they discovered him, and they were like, what are you doing, gringo? What are you doing here? Go. We don't want your little iron and brass helmets and swords. Go. We're way past that. Go. See, we got pyramids. You know, we're doing this, and so they just lie to you. They just lie to you. And so the truth of the matter is that we were so far advanced when we're not advanced technologically. We're not advanced industrially. The Industrial Revolution is a recent creation because it's bullshit. And everything that they produce rusts and has just made what? The whole earth now has become what? Garbage pits, dumps everywhere for what? The shit that they've made for 200 years out of this Industrial Revolution. Now there are some good things, advancement, but for what purpose? Only because there's going to be more people now, and because they have to have people in cities and they can't grow it, so you need more abundance because it all goes to waste. So they have to produce way more food because most of it goes to waste. Ever seen the back of a Safeway or any of these stores? All they do is throw out food. And when poor people try to go to the back of the Safeway and take some of the food they're going to throw away, they're like ready to kill these people. They don't want these poor people to have any of their throwing away. It's fucking evil. It's just evil beyond description. There's no reason for the Industrial Revolution. Not a one. You are agrarian. Ever looked at your jaw? Ever looked at the majority of your teeth? These are not vampire fangs. They're not even fangs. They're just there to help you crack a nut or something. That's it. Or to be able to, bite thread, if you just ever need to just pull thread apart or something. That's what that little thing is. It's not to ravage some living animal. That's insanity. Your jaw goes, The only other ones that do this are frugivores. We're frugivores. We're not 95 or 97 or 98% frugivores. We're 100% frugivores. We're frugivores. We're agrarian. What has mankind's history been? Agrarian. When did the Industrial Revolution start? Just recently. Why? Vampires get you into cities, a lot of people, and then they wear these fancy clothes, fancy hats, And they wear a lot of beards and stuff because they're just trying to hide. Makeup. What do we find out in the Abraham Lincoln movie? Makeup. They can't even be out in the sun because they don't have Jesus Christ within them. They don't have laminin within them. So they're literally burning up in the sun, which is the light of God. So, you know, it's wow. Wow. It's all fake. So all this stuff, myself included, has a master's degree in business administration. What an idiot. What an idiot. None of it made any sense to me. It never did. All the equations ever have to do is zero out so that you can prove that they work, but it doesn't prove anything. It just proves that the equation is feasible and that you can put an X factor and a Y factor.
Which is how they came up with the term, the books.
The books.
And if it could still come out to the right number, that's cooking the books.
When
And
you-
you shouldn't be cooking.
That's right. When you can move the decimal wherever you want, and when you can move the zero to either side of a decimal, that's called bullshit. That's not rules and regulations. That's not a skill. That's not economics. That's just fucking fakery. That's what that is. That's lying and fakery. And that's what all this business is. It's just fakery. And it just turns us into vampires trying to feast on one another, you know, for the scraps, because they take the majority. It's incredible. So you're faced with this massive truth that everything that's happened over the last 200 years has been orchestrated by them, and it's bullshit. We never needed to do it. Professor Tolkien railed against this industrial creep, against the farmland of Britain. He said Britain is losing its soul. And what did he say? The car, the motorized engine, he said it will result in mankind losing its soul because it will mean the end of the horse. And it has for us, and we've lost our way. We've lost our way, but we can get it all back. And that's how we want to end this show for you today. So I just want to make this one more tie with schooling. So schooling is necessary to be able to get the kids out of the house so you can get the mom out of the house. And capitalism, business, is there to be able to get the man out of the house and then the mother out of the house and then the children out of the house. There's nobody in the house and your house is full of shit. We collect all of this useless, worthless stuff, and then we're all gone so that people can come in and steal and we're all angry. It's like, well, possession is 9/10 of the law. Maybe they should just live. Maybe the robbers should just live in your home because they spend more time in it than you, because you're always out there doing all of this bullshit out there stuff. They're just good at what they do, but it's so evil. So you're faced with this conundrum that schooling is there. And remember, they teach letters and numbers to kids only for a reason. And that's so that they can play this game of their communication. It's their system of communication. So you see, this is the significance of what we've been teaching for 3 years with etymology, finding the root of all of these words. And what have we shared with you? We proved it to you 1,000 times over. They've changed the definition of every single word, and that's what schools are for, to lie. So this is torture, and this is absolutely brainwashing. Your kids are sent there to learn the upside down truth, which is a lie of the cabal system and not God and not Mother Nature. We don't know how to do anything of value. We don't know how anything.
That's why kids come out of schools and they go to universities and colleges and they come out and they don't have a job.
They don't know how to
They don't have a skill, really.
That's right. That's right. And they can't fend for themselves because they don't know how to do anything. And that's what this is all about. Their system, their math. Colleen used to, when she was younger, she struggled. She was good with geometry, but when it got into all these fancy maths like algebra, it didn't make sense and nobody was there to really teach it. And remember, how many algebra teachers did you have in school that struggled with teaching algebra? It doesn't make sense. It was never meant to.
I never taught in a way that you apply it to life. So anyway, yeah, it was very challenging. And I think it is for many people, especially the artistic side, the right brain, more right brain people.
But they
struggle with that.
But what did they say about algebra? That's smart people land. And if you can't do algebra, just no big deal. It just means you're not smart.
Kind of a big deal. Nobody wants to be labeled as an idiot.
But that's what you are, and it's bullshit. And so, you know, the kids that did well, think about this, the kids that did well in algebra are the ones that would in a second would tell you the sky is green if it got them a 10 out of 10 on a test. Morally flexible people have always been the friend of this ugly system. So now take a look. I just got to share this with you. Take a look at how they recruit for things. Take a look at how the police recruit. Take a look at how universities recruit. Take a look at how virtually anything and everything recruits. A lot of times it doesn't make sense. It's because they're looking for morally flexible people. People who to get a good job, and the doctors, I'm sorry to do this, I know that there's a ton of doctors out there who want to do well and have.
Same with the teachers. They went in for the right reasons. They wanted to help, but they've gotten screwed by the systems.
That's right.
And now the people that are morally flexible and are able to be left-brained and programmed so easily, those are the ones that are now in our police. And not that there aren't some good police, because there are.
There
But
absolutely
the ones
are.
that we're seeing on these videos who are being
And in
so rough,
Australia, I literally, it's all I can do to stop myself from transmutating through the screen and beating the living daylights out of them. Honestly, I just want
those are the
to.
people who've been through the systems and have come out exactly the way the cabal has wanted them to. They are brainable, programmable, and they've done such a good job that these people can't even, they're in such a low frequency that they can't hear anything but what their boss has told them. And they are strictly left-brain carnal monsters at this point.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what we're showing you is that the school system and religion and every other system in between has all been tied to the hip with this industrial revolution. And so the truth, it is the truth. And none of it was necessary. None of it was necessary. For all that the industrial revolution has done for us, we've now lost our immune system and we have to jab, and it doesn't help anything. Just remember, there was no such thing as polio. So there's never been a vaccine ever that has ever worked. It never does. It's all a lie. And so you start to look at the roots of all of this, and everything has been a lie. There's no reason for it whatsoever. There's no reason for the Industrial Revolution. We are an agrarian-based society. Remember, they can't explain and they can't build the pyramids. They can't explain and they can't build the pyramids. They can't explain or build most of the ancient things that are out there and are just brilliant beyond description, and they don't know. They don't have an answer for any of it.
Now, Joanne says, forgive them for they know not what they do. Yes, but they have to be held accountable for what they've done. And then when they know better, they have to do better.
You have to make seeking
retribution.
Atonement, as Eugene has been talking about and Justin's been talking about. You have to make retributions. You have to seek penance of God. You have to seek atonement. If you're not seeking atonement, they are not going. So
so everyone who
Joanne probably knows that, but if she doesn't, just know that from Colleen and I, however that makes you feel about us, they will not get forgiveness from us until such time. But what we're talking about are these people who are the Canaanites, the orchestrators of all of this, and their minions. Now, those people who have been doing some horrible thing, but we have nothing but sympathy and empathy for them, because once again, we've been attacked from the moment that we're born. So we don't know any other way than their diseased way. So you have nothing but compassion and forgiveness for us. But it's just those that know better and don't do better. And that's what rails us about these politicians and about certain, the Freemasons. So these certain police officers and these certain doctors and these certain administrators in the hospitals and these certain school board administrators and all these key positions that one person rules tens of thousands of people. They're all Freemasons. They're all Freemasons. And remember, Freemasonry didn't start as evil. They just infiltrated it, because Freemasonry is like a civilian military. Freemasonry just says chase the rabbit, chase the rabbit. So they're all looking up at the carrot dangling at the back of the rabbit, chasing the rabbit to get the golden carrot, because they want to get to the 33rd level and then all the wonders that it promises after the 33rd degree
But the
of
degrees of
Freemasonry.
things that they have to do to get to that degree are disgusting and repugnant, and it will no longer be tolerated by the rest of us.
That's right. And
There
there's,
is no
and
forgiveness
you
for
don't go
that.
past 33 degrees, because by the time you get there in their system, you're lost. You've lost your soul. You're soulless, and there's nowhere. You're going nowhere but
When
straight
you
down to hell.
discover what they've been doing after they get to that 33rd degree, and those ones that are ruling these institutions, and no. You won't be saying, let's just forgive them all.
So this is what we're sharing with you. The entire purpose of school, one, is to get your kids out of the house so that they can get both of you out of the house. Two, to be able to provide a service of teaching letters and numbers to children, but all skewed upside down to their lies of their system. So all you know how to do is communicate in their world, in their system, and you've lost God. So it is sick and demonic, because it is teaching you to become disconnected to God, and it is forcing you to be dependent on their system by teaching kids lies and teaching kids these words, which are spells. All words are spells, because everything is this beautiful fundamental language. The numbers of God, 1 through 12, and then the letters A through Z, 1 through 26. They're magic, and all, like Colleen always talks about this, and it's so wonderful. And she's right. Every variation is a different frequency, so there's a different incantation, so it's a different spell, and they're all beautiful white spells if you speak them truthfully, etymologically correct, truthfully, and then they're white magic spells. But when you use these words the way you've been taught, which is upside down and a lie, that becomes black magic. That's demonic. And so we don't blame anyone who does this, because how do you know any better? It's just that when you know better, you have to do better. And that's why along this last 3 years, there are a lot of people that shut Colleen and I off after a certain point, because they don't want to hear any better. They don't want to hear anymore, because they don't want to do anymore.
Because they know that if they do acknowledge the truth, then they have to change. And they don't want to do better, because the left brain likes to stay in control.
That's right. So they will find whatever excuse they need to. Charlie wore.
They need to demonize us.
Charlie used to have. Remember, Charlie used to have red headphones. I knew it.
They were like horns.
I knew it.
He was a demon.
I knew it. Colleen came home. These terrible, crappy things that you've been spliced together with masking tape. I finally was able to, have enough money from looking after all the animals to be able to get you a pair of headphones. And then somebody like, it's red, and I knew it, Charlie. I knew Charlie. And it's like, Colleen's like, wow. I know.
I didn't think that way, but
it's really sick, but that's what people will do. So this is why Colleen and I are dangerous. Don't kid yourselves. Outside of the Q team in the military, outside of that, no one has faced greater attacks and has been blocked or banned more than Colleen and I. I guarantee you. And that's because.
But that's not important. Just stay with the truth.
But it's because it is important, because it is the truth. And that's why, it's like, I always love that about Donald Fagen and Walter Becker for Steely Dan. They always said, interviewers would joke around with them and saying, you guys are like so smart, so intelligent. It's like, do you recommend this for kids? And they're like, no, it's like, it's kind of a coming in age kind of thing to listen to Steely Dan music. It's hard to put an age on it, but we don't recommend that. Oh my God. So again, they wrote all these alchemical songs, right? So it's brilliant. But so we're kind of like that as well. We're not for everyone, because Charlie doesn't have a filter. Just tells it like it is, and that's the wholeness of the truth. And the reason is because somebody has to do it. So
Ron Holt says, loop the alphabet, and 33 brings you back to G.
Yeah, it
Wow.
absolutely
Thanks
does.
for sharing that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, and G is golden child of God, golden child. So once again, 11, 22, 33. You can look at it that way. You can look at it at K, M, and G, and we are the golden child of the risen Father and the risen Mother. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. Exalt the mother. So happy ending to this story in the podcast today. So yes, we have put our kids, just like we were, you were. No one's judging you at all, because we all were for. I hated school. I've shared this story with you a million times. I hated school. And I skipped school so much because I hated it. And I hung out in bookstores and record stores and hi-fi shops. That was what I cared about. And so no one's blaming you for any of this. But and so we have put our kids through this torturous experience, and we were put through it. And it is, it's torturous, just brutal. And it's brainwashing, and it totally is. It's propaganda. Now, here's the good news. Once you let it go, it's the beauty of God. Once you just let go, you start breathing differently. You start making better decisions in your life. You start eating differently. You start getting more exercise. You start going outside. Once you start connecting to Mother and the Mother Nature, when you get out of these cities, or at least if you don't want to, and you want to turn your subdivision, you get a hold of everyone in that area and you say, you know what? We don't have to leave. We just have to get rid of the asphalt and concrete, and we're going to just turn it back into what it was, which is nature. Let's turn this into a fruit forest. Let's turn this into a
So it
playground.
can look like the Shire everywhere.
Exactly. And when you do that, then she rises within you and your children, and she will heal you, because she is the healer of this earth. Make no mistake about it. That's why the brightest minds in all of our history have always said, let food be thy medicine, because the mother knows what she's doing, and she will heal. All of the mental suffering that we've gone through, she will heal. All of the physical suffering that we've gone through, she'll heal. All you have to do is go into salt water, pilgrimages to salt water. Go to the salt water, put your ailing ankles in, put your weary feet in, put your sore and arthritic hands in the salt water. Watch what it does. Watch what it does. Takes the inflammation right out. They start to work better. They feel better. And this is the healing that comes through the mother. She will show you the truth, because she is the truth. She's God's creation. God's creation is the truth. And it's just the way it is. Whatever God created, whatever this is the truth. And it's in plain sight. He is the representation of that.
So there's a better way.
There's a better way. And here's the trick. The better way is anti-industrial revolution, anti-technology. There's nothing wrong with development, but who says that development has to look a certain way? You see, you've been brainwashed into thinking that intelligence and development and growth will always be in the areas of more shit, of more better metals. And it's like, no. Get rid of Monsanto. Get rid of Monsanto. Mama, she'll make up all, she'll produce the plants again, and all the seeds will naturally fall. And then eventually, you'll get to the book of Matthew, and you'll say, you'll get to Matthew 6:27 to 6:30, and Jesus is talking about the fowl of the air, and they don't plant seeds. They don't tend to crops. They don't harvest crops, and then they don't store seeds to plant their fields for the next year. They've always got food.
Your children are going to be much more intelligent when they aren't in that institution anymore, and that they are just, in fact, you teach them how to meditate and connect to God, and all the notes will be downloaded to them, and they won't need, people will say, well, you're not good at math. How can you teach your child math? Oh, there will be a way, and it will come to you.
Well, of course, and the math of the earth is geometry, and everyone's good at geometry because you are geometry.
And as a community, we'll all share our gnosis with each other, so it'll be great. So yeah, moving forward, we don't have to put our kids in those institutions.
No.
The fact that the COVID has taken away the ability to put your children in school, that is a blessing, a silver lining.
Of course, and not go to your jobs, a blessing, a silver lining. The Q team has been doing this all along, and we literally were talking about this 2 years ago. So the reasons for doing this, not going back to work. So now I said earlier, get out of cities or transform your city. So if you don't have to leave. You don't have to necessarily get out of Canada. There are ingenious ways. Look, if people in Siberia can grow leaf lettuce 365 days a year, you can, no matter where you live. And it is not
That's where
rocket science,
technology can take us, down that road,
for sure,
agrarian road.
for sure, an agrarian road. And that is no clocks. There's none of the linear time bye, and that's the single biggest gift you can give to kids. Think about John Lennon, working class hero. What did John Lennon write? First words in Working Class Hero. How do they get you? Soon as you're born, they give you time they own you and they control you by, what do they do with time? They create it and then give you none. They make it the instrument by which you have to operate through, and then they give you none. And they got
It's
you.
clever.
They got you. So linear time will
So
go
no
the
more
way.
institutions of school, no more institutions of banking.
No more institutions of banking, no more institutions of medicine. We didn't touch on it today, we could have, but
No, we have no time.
but the hospitals, you don't want to know. You don't want to know how evil, because as we've always shared with you, hospitals are really controlled by a Freemason up top and then the morgue below, because they sign off on everything. So who you put working in the basement, and the hiring is all done by that one Freemason up here. Who you put working in the basement is what happens in any hospital. Don't kid yourselves. Doctors and nurses are far too busy. It's like any other profession. They run you ragged so that you don't notice the shit that's going on. And these people get away with murder right under your very nose. And that's what's been going on in hospitals. And they make excuses for it everywhere. They do. Second largest variance of death in hospitals now is accident. Really? Or is it
Hospitals.
is it murder in the night? Do these demons come out at night and put certain things into your your IVs and what? Please don't kid yourself. Accident is now number 2. They're murdering. They're looking for certain things. They're looking for blood. They're looking for certain blood. They're looking for organs. They're harvesting organs when people have certain blood. Hospitals, more than anything, is a science lab experiment. They're observing. Hospitals observe
Little
you.
houses of horrors.
Little houses of horrors. So everything's going to change. Dentistry, all of it is going to change. Lawyers, learn how to plant, because I don't see a use for you. So I hope we really helped today, and I wanted to end on on this incredibly positive note. Like Professor Tolkien said, all we need to do to undo the ravages of the last 100 years of modernization. What did he say? He said, just go back to the horse and the buggy. If you go back to the horse and the buggy, he said, everything will take care, because the first thing that goes is linear time. I didn't get there on time. Yeah, well, I'm in a horse and a buggy, and sorry. So the linear, so he's right. We get back to an agrarian society, and you don't have to leave cities. You can just make cities work for you.
And in our town, we can actually ride our horse if we had one, we could ride it to town.
Yeah, well, and we did, and we're going to have horses again, and that's always been our dream. And Colleen and I we'll ride our horses into town with our saddlebags, and if we need something, that's it. And yippee-ki-yay, we'll be back home on the farmstead. So
Be kind to your animals, love your children, hug your wife and husband. We love you guys so much. In the next few weeks, the next few months are going to be uber important. So just dig in and do the work. We love you so much, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
We will. And let me just finish with this one more reminder for you. Everything is about comms, and everything comes out at the perfect moment. This is the movie, so everything's coming out at the perfect moment. -48 coming out right now screams that we're coming closer and closer and closer. -48 is a calm. So he's a brilliant guy, whoever he is, and he's wonderful doing God's work, but it's a calm, and it's telling you now powerfully, just, and Colleen was brilliant. She said, you know, that, so as soon as I said that to Call said, then you see 107. It's just 107 was never meant to be the same kind of calm or trigger that negative 48 is. Negative 48 is a powerful statement. And that's telling you this sucker is now in real speed. It is really moving now. And it is. And stay tuned. And so he's proving to you in plain sight that this is God's plan and it's behind it. And everything that they've been saying and doing, all the Q posts, all relate back to God, all relate back to the one story of God, and their one story is perfectly in tune. So where they're going is where we're going, and where we're all going is to the Father, Mother, and the
And
child.
now negative 48 has a Telegram channel under negative 48. And I think he has a YouTube channel. I'm not sure, but he's on other people's YouTube, but on the Telegram, you'll be able to find out from other people.
Closer and closer to what? Closer and closer to what? If you don't know this, the first thing that has to happen is the shoe has to drop. So the shoe dropping is, oh shit.
Now remember, 9/11 is the 20th anniversary of the fakery at the Twin Towers that fell. We all know the
Good
false
news.
flag that
Good
was.
news is that was more of a false flag than you know. So there's going to be some more good news coming out of it.
All of the information will be coming out. I'm sure of it.
So the first thing that's going to happen, the shoe is going to drop. And the shoe dropping is going, oh shit. Charlie and Colleen were telling the people all along, oh no, these people are that bad. So you're going to find out, okay? And then some certain things have to happen. Some certain things will play out, like
Really-
election accountability.
Right.
But
Really hard to give dates, but
yeah, but I mean, that stuff will rock and roll lightning speed past that stuff. There just have to be some examples, and that's what's coming. So that's what's coming. You're asking, well, to what? What's coming? What's going to change? We're leading to what? The shoe dropping. The shoe's going to drop, and then they're going to have to pay for what they've done. There's accountability. It's what this is all about, is accountability. So kaboom, it's a coming, and nothing can stop what's coming because it's God's plan. And so to that end, to Michael Bryan, Potsman, and everyone else part of his team that's working tirelessly to put all of this out. Thank you. We love you. Wonderful. Thank you. God is the way. God is the answer. Jesus Christ is the way to God, and it's the answer. And it's a mother and a father. We fell, so we gained a mother out of this whole thing. So, and there's a Lord Christ and a Lady Christ. So as Colleen said, we love each and every one of you. We'll come back soon with another show. And thanks
love
for
that.
being here.
as this one lady said, she's unschooling her children. I'm like, yeah, that's a great term. I've been unschooling my children for.
And teach them to play instruments, teach them to play music. We have to get more of our kids back into music. Music is a healing frequency. You won't believe this, but the healthcare profession moving forward is going to be in nature and will feature music. It absolutely will.
So teach them to be kind to each other, teach them to be kind man and give service to others, not just service to self. We love you guys so much.